Okay. So, can everybody hear the music okay? Because the music is going to be important. I'm going to try my best to bring a lot of sound effects to this game.
As I can tell you.
All right.
Yeah, I think this is beautiful too. I know you asked yesterday, but this shit's fucking great.
Bro, 53 gigabytes of audio is what I have. Sound effects, music, everything. I got to send it to you. All right. So, welcome everybody to Animus of the Worthy, the first game session for us. This is something that obviously has taken a long time for us to get here. And it is something that is going to be, I don't want to say a huge project, but it is a game I'm hoping you guys will enjoy throughout your time here. Now, just a reminder about the last game, which is the prior game to this one. Which was Rise of the Worthless. Did everybody get a chance to fully read all of the document about what happened towards the end of that campaign?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. So we are going to be joined this game by a new player. That's going to be Oro here. Now, Oro is the only player I'm going to allow to join with their own character. That is because this character actually serves a purpose in this game. You guys are going to be spending a little time out in the wilds of my universe, my multiverse, dealing with the planes in general. Now, you won't be here for very long. The point of the game is more as a starting point, but you will find towards the end of quote-unquote Chapter 1, or technically the Chapter 0, that you guys will be able to pick where you're going to go. There are going to be 5 options for different terrains or different countries you can go to. One of them will not be your home world, or at least your home nation, or even in all the continents you know will be a new place. I'm not saying that these are not going to connect. In fact, every one of them connects. But it will be your choice, and I will try my best to always pivot to the choices that you make. Okay? All I ask is that you guys to do 2 things for me. 1, always participate. Try and immerse yourself into the game itself. If you find yourself asking questions about how something works, ask me. And if the answer might very well be find out in character. You may not know. But your characters obviously have traveled quite a bit at this point, but you've only traveled to 2 nations. Amratlas, and as well as the remnants, which have the same technology, and Brasfielda, which is the most medieval country on both continents. So you haven't had an opportunity to really explore what this world has to offer, which is why there are going to be times where you're still not going to know the answers. Okay, but be open to that and open to exploring it. I will test at times the different moral compasses that you may or may not have. And those choices will impact the rest of this campaign, and those choices will also impact the future of the world that I am in, that I'm making here. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Now, I will reiterate that we are going to be using the digital dice in the game at all times, if at all possible. If for some reason you find the need to have to roll physical dice, I will let you do so, but understand that this is going to limit some of the automation that we have. Now, I've tested out a lot of the automation for Foundry, but we very well might find some bugs here and there. Of course, we do have my co-DM here with John, who is going to be doing his best to help whenever possible, but he's only one man, right? There's only 2 of us here. So have some patience with some of it as we work out some of the kinks. The first couple games will likely have them. Okay? All right.
Okay.
So, let's go ahead and get started. Now, I have previously asked all of you to not read any of the journal entries that you found, because everybody should have had a journal entry underneath a folder called Dreamscapes. Sorry, not Dreamscapes. Yeah, Ethereal Dreams. Do you guys see that? Don't click on it, but have you guys seen it?
Journal.
There should be an entry there.
So I see.
I don't see it on mine.
World knowledge and house rules.
All right, hold on just a moment. I want to make sure this is visible. Observer, maybe?
Oh, something popped up.
Dreamscapes just popped up.
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
Let's
Do
see.
you guys
Ethereal
see-
Dreams and Rococo's Dream.
Yeah, Rococo's Dream was a filler, so let's get rid of that. Now,
Okay.
John, can you do me a favor and click on? You're in on your regular character, right?
Mm.
As well.
Yep, I'm on the I'm not on the GM screen right now. I'm on my
Okay.
basic screen.
Can you do me a favor and click on Ethereal Dreams? See if you see. You should only see Remembrance, Rococo.
Ethereal Dreams. I can see all of them on my end, but I could just click mine.
Okay, so you do see all of them then? Interesting.
Yeah, I see mine, Rillimae's, Sages, Artans, and Zirans.
Okay, very interesting. It shouldn't. That's weird. All right, well, you know what? That's the point of this is the testing. All right, so let's go ahead and get underway then. Do not click on it yet, but I'll get to. There's a point that we will. I will have you read these. These are something that they're not forbidden for you to talk about. It is just simply I want only you to read yours, and that is just because each one has a bit of information, and you should only be sharing it in character. Try not to spare anything outside of character. Okay, you'll find yourself enjoying more of the game if you choose to keep in character. All right, let's go ahead and read the introduction and get started. Actually, we change the music first because that's going to be important. All right. Oh. There we go.
All
You should
right.
be able to hear the sound.
And sorry to interrupt, but when you say that everybody gets their dreamscape, does that include me or?
No, you do not have a dreamscape, and this is just for the
Okay,
part of it.
perfect.
You'll be
Just
coming
checking.
in pretty soon, though, so don't worry about that. But no, you're good. I should have mentioned that. Thank you for calling it out. Okay. So
Those are all irrelevant. Yeah.
here we go. It's betrayal. It surely lay on all your minds as you were torn spiritually, let alone physically, from the sight of both your greatest victory and your worst failure. You were cast out, forced beyond the reach of the mad malcontent known as Saranat, and find yourself afloat in an impossible world. Clouds of maybes and never-wers, of liquid solids and crestfallen stars, surround you both near and far amidst the throes of creation and destruction that threatened your existence at every turn. You float, your bodies writhing from terrifying pain to numbing agony, unaware of much that happens around you. Your friends, your families, your life and your death pale against the existence you continue to experience. At the edge of your perception, something moves. And you feel something gently scoop you up, much as one would a child. Under your arms and around your ribs, and before you even process it, you are on the deck of a ship. Surrounded by unfamiliar blurs and shapes, you find yourselves unable to distinguish friend from foe, from the real and fabrication, though the last thing you experience clearly is a voice, tight with discipline and taut with authority, speak. By the nine, what have we here? Welcome to the deep ethereal, my fellows. You fall into darkness, blessedly released, at last, from the torturous existence you now find yourself. Now go ahead and open those dreams, those remembrances. Find your character, click on it. Go ahead and read in this moment what you're experiencing. Just go let me know when you guys have finished.
Okay.
Complete.
All right.
I'm guessing some are longer than others.
Reading speeds.
True. I thought I would be the slowest, honestly.
Add a Gorzex.
What was that?
I was just looking at like how in Zero Session that there's like ADAGORRSX, and I'm like, that's our team name, everybody.
Perfection. That feels like something Rococo would actually say.
Okay, I've read mine.
We're missing. Wandi's deafened.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's even heard any of this.
Okay. All right. You awake quite some time later to a world that sways and shifts before your eyes. Your last memory was the arrival in your home amidst an army of former blood nemesis as you moved to lay siege against Amratlas. To what? A dull ache in your chest reveals that something is wrong, and the hole in your memory perhaps is a part of it. You stand up, arms out to support you with the movements of what? A ship? No windows in the small room make it impossible to tell. A small chest, a single mirror above a desk arranged with some of your personal effects, and the bed are the only furniture around you, though a door that looks unlocked lay nearby. Then it hits. Memories flood you of the betrayal, of the sacrifices, of voices familiar and yet distinctly alien screaming at you as you are torn asunder. The pain doesn't return, only an echo of it, that doesn't dull the wound somewhere inside of you that decidedly knows you are no longer whole. A vague impression of longing and desperation tinges a single direction, one that moves as you do, and instinctively somehow you know that is where your friends lie. You are weak, every step a struggle, every breath a miracle, when you should have been dead. Somehow you are not, and the knowledge as to why lay in only one direction, the iron door before you. Which might give some definition to those dreams of yours.
Was there anything unique about the door? You said it's an iron door.
Correct. It seems to be a pretty standard iron door with very little ornamentation. It looks like it was, given your experience, you would assume that it is likely just more built for sturdiness more than any designed to lock. You don't look to be in any kind of cell.
I'll slowly get up, clenching my chest, limping towards the door, and open it.
I mean, is just everybody just... How far apart are we? Are we...
Well, you are all
I think
in
we're in
different
different rooms.
rooms. Yeah, you're in different rooms.
So we...
And
okay,
you do,
yeah,
but you do
alone.
feel, you do feel that presence somewhere nearby. That
Okay.
seems to give the impression that, again, you almost instinctively know it's your friends. But
Okay.
you do know some of them are missing. 2 specifically.
Oh, okay. And there's, I mean, no indication anything else really around the room. The door's the only, like, big object of note.
Correct. Again, you do have some personal effects onto a table next to you with a mirror atop it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, definitely chalk Sage up as grabbing his things, taking inventory, and then approaching the door.
Okay, you will notice that several of your personal effects are missing. You see all of the magic items you've had throughout your time here. Some of definitely the treasure you've gathered is missing. Mostly, it seems your clothes, a couple. It looks like a couple of pouches, as well as your hammer. That is on top of this desk. But it does look to you like the hammer itself, one head has been splintered. So much so that even without touching it, you can tell that it is no longer magical.
Well, I'm no stranger to losing everything, am I? And he'll grab his items and the splinters, and yeah, towards the door he goes.
Okay.
Okay.
So
I
right
don't
now
like
we have
boys.
so far. So just to clarify, to confirm, so we do have Artan and Sage moving towards the door.
Yeah.
That
Yep.
now goes over to, sounds like, to Rilame. Rilame.
Yep. She will, sit up holding her head. Kind of just stare around the room for a moment before getting up and grabbing her things off of the said it was a desk or just a table, whatever. Then heading for the door.
You will notice that the ring, your wedding ring,
Mhm.
the stone has cracked in several along its entire length. The circumference, there definitely seems to be chips broken off.
Okay. She's still gonna put it on.
Okay, so you move to the door.
Mhm.
Zirin or
Mm.
Rococo, who would like to go next?
I'll go last.
Okay.
Okay,
Zirin?
so, Zero would spring up in a cold sweat and be freaking out. Like, in silence, he'd be freaking out. He'd look around for a minute and kind of like clutch himself to himself as he like sees everyone else starting to walk to the door. But he would have to take a second to gather himself. But even trying to speak would just be hard for him at the moment. He'd take a second to look around before he finally pulls himself together. And before he even like considers to reach for anything, he just goes, "Are we even remotely able to like touch anything here?"
Yes. I mean, you're around you. The bed you're in definitely has some comfort. It definitely looks like it's not like the best in the world, but it does remind you of the beds you guys had when you were traveling overseas back towards the remnants. So definitely, you can feel that around you. You do feel almost perfectly perfect when it comes to the temperatures. Both it's not necessarily warm or cold, about good 70, 72, where it's not quite hot and not quite cold either.
Before he even pulls himself out of bed, he would do what he can to gather his thoughts. He would look around and see if there's anything he can grab, because before he was a barbarian, I really didn't have much armor wise.
Yeah.
So.
Looking
Bacon.
around, you do see that table of your personal effects. You don't have much. You do have a couple pouches. You do have some remnants of your old gear. But one thing that does stand out is you do see Borden Thunder. However, Borden, its entire barrel has been splintered and cracked. The end is broken off with its bell shape, definitely almost in pieces and ribbons. The stock is cracked to the point that you can tell, even just at a glance, that this needs to be replaced, not fixed. It is no longer a usable weapon any longer.
So the Gaziran would get up and what left of the things he has had, but before he picks up Borden, he would hesitate. And if no one's looking at him, no one will notice this, but he sheds like quite a bit of tears before he like finally musters the courage to grab the gun. And he doesn't put it away, he holds it in his hand and reminisces of the past while he heads toward the door with everyone else.
Well, keep in mind, you're in your own room. You're by yourself.
Yeah.
I would look around. If I see the door, then I would head to the door.
Okay. And over to Rococo.
All right. Rococo was sleeping on her back. When she opens her eyes, it's like there are tears in the tear ducts, but it hasn't gone fully into crying, you know? It's just sort of like on the edges. And then she tries to move, but she can't. Because when she turns her head, she sort of sees this shadowy sleep paralysis demon. Basically, sort of like a mixture of basically his mom and the thing that's inside of her. As she struggles to sort of regain foundation of, you know, her body, there's just that moment like whenever you have sleep paralysis where it feels like you're not in control. And then she just calms down, takes a deep breath, relaxes. She gets up. The shadow disappears. Then there's a moment of panic. She looks around. She doesn't recognize this room. It feels unfamiliar, but she does feel that tugging sensation toward the door. Almost scrambling for guidance, she looks for the Staff of Myrias, which she'll probably see on that end table with all of the small, you know, belongings that she has, and she'll see that it's clearly not what it once was.
There are cracks along its length for sure. The actual edges, the wood itself is pitted and scarred, as if struck by some sort of burning liquid.
And as she sees that, she takes her staff. She grits her teeth. There's a moment of what feels like betrayal, but not from Serenade, but from what she believed was her goddess. And kind of like a child lashing out, she sees her reflection in the small mirror that is on the desk table, and she's not as defined as she was before. A sort of loss of her sense of self, you could say, and because of that, her unique aspect and ability to sort of change her gender into however she feels like, there's a confusion of who she is supposed to be. She takes the staff, she swings it hard as it crashes into the small desk mirror and against the wall. But also, similarly like a kid, after it falls onto the ground, she pants a bit and realizes that she's having a bit of a temper tantrum. She doesn't know what's going on. And in that moment of confusion, she just decides to stick to the feeling that's in her chest. She takes the staff, her belongings, and she moves towards the door to open it.
All right. Now, I will circle back to Artan. As he is the first one, I'll give him a chance to add a little bit more in embellishing what he's doing. So Artan, you are waking up from the dream, from the flash of memory. How would you like to proceed?
While waking up after having a very vivid dream, cold sweat and the pulling of his friends leading him towards the door before taking a moment to realize where he was. Just a place very unfamiliar to him, and he gazes around the room, seeing the bed, seeing items on the table, before being fixated on the items, being drawn near there.
You would find a variety of objects, perhaps more than others, given your propensity for collecting small natural things. You have a few pieces, a few twigs, some half-eaten berries that you collected. But what does and there are a few pouches that you recognize as places you've kept a few memories from the spirits that you worked with that collected for you. But you do find one object that is definitely not something you remember almost tentatively. You believe it is the sword of one of your sister, something that you had collected from the prince of the remnants. It was a long sword with a hilt that is shaped like two roaring lions on either side for the crossguard. The pommel is furthermore, it is a claw, almost like a a bird, but it has a ruby buried into it. And the whole actual hilt itself seems to have been crafted almost from gold, but there is a greenish tinge to it. You never did find out exactly what this is made of, but it is something for sure that you've kept with you since then. You do notice, however, that the gemstone is cracked. It's not as luminous as it once was. And the blade, about halfway down its length, has warped, twisted, as if grabbed in a vice and physically twisted it into a almost swirl. The blade is definitely no longer usable, and whatever magic it once had is no longer there.
Artan will cover his mouth and take a brief pause while a single tear rolls down his face before grabbing all of the supplies that's on the table, wiping his tears away, and heading towards the door.
All right. Now, you are all going to step out as your doors open around you. You open the doors, you pull them open, and you find yourself, interestingly enough, you find yourselves on the deck of a ship. Now, briefly, I will show you what the ship would look like. Quite an interesting vessel, for sure. You find yourselves surrounded on all above and to the sides around this vessel. You find clouds of different colors. You find mist and objects that in many cases seem to be glistening like the stars in the sky all around you. In places you find bubbles. You find swaths of water, of sand, and everywhere you look, you can almost perceive that the material seems to be almost forming into some strange objects. This is definitely not a place you've ever seen before, and it may very well give you pause and wondering if you're truly still asleep. But then, come back here. Actually, that's the wrong... Hold on. That's the wrong deck, actually. I forgot that this is all backwards. Here we go. Now, I will pull your tokens onto the screen here.
May I ask a question while you're doing that?
Of course.
You said we all step out, right?
Correct.
What is our orientation to each other, and where does it look like we've come from when we step out?
You guys are actually across from each other. In fact, you are... As far as where you came from, that's a little harder to answer. Given that from your perspective, seeing each other, you see yourselves looking at doors, the same doors that you have opened, exactly the same. But while you see around the door frame, you do see these clouds behind it. It doesn't seem like that should have been possible, given the fact that there shouldn't be a room behind it. But you guys all see the same rooms behind each other. Now, and you are facing one another. But you do find yourselves on this deck of the ship, and around you are more people. Each person definitely strikes you as odd, as many of these people have unusual characteristics. You see one gentleman who has hair that seems to be made of fire, with red skin and cracked flesh around his cheeks, where you can see the bones beneath, blackened with the heat. You find an individual who is lumbering, large, with skin that looks like it's made of stone. One person who has wings that seem to be made of liquid, with flesh that is glistening like diamonds. But otherwise, other than these strange differences, they all look humanoid.
Okay. Um, does it feel as if we have rested a long time before waking up like this, or is this all fresh feeling from what we've just recently experienced?
You have you do feel rested in that you feel like you have been sleeping a long time, but there's definitely still that pain. On good example of
Right.
this is if you were someone who slept 10 hours and you're normally sleeping 6, you wake up, sure, you feel energetic, but you still feel exhausted.
Okay. But also, like, it doesn't feel like it's been a long time since we just experienced, like, what we're
It's
just now
as far as you
waking up
know
from.
that happened.
That
Yeah,
just happened.
it's yep. As far as you're concerned, you know you were likely knocked unconscious. You had this dream,
Right.
but that still to you is as fresh as you eating breakfast this morning.
As far as Sage, then, he's going to shuffle out of that doorway. I mean, he's barely moving. There's as little animation as you could physically imagine in a person. Um, he looks around. I mean, he'll notice the things around him, right? He sees his friends, but I think he's a little too broken to really feel anything else at the moment. So,
It is worth noting that everybody is wearing the same clothes that were under the armors that you had before, but they are shredded, barely really can be considered garments. They definitely cover some of the more important bits, but you know that anything that would have remained of your former clothing is going to be had to be destroyed. There's no fixing it.
right. So yeah, that's it for Sage. He sees everything around him, but I don't think he can really react.
And who would like
Are
to move
we
next? Good.
are we more on the upper deck or the lower deck?
No, you are on the top of the deck, the lower up above this direction over here. That is actually goes up towards where you would see a tall woman. I'll go up her picture for you, but you see a tall woman who is holding the large steering wheel, or so to speak. I know there's a proper term for this. Someone's going to hate me for it, but the actual wheel for the ship itself. Let me grab her image.
Artan will be amazed at first at all the new things. Not amazed, but more of shock, like that everything is new to him before he comes to realize he is on the damn ship. So he will rush to the nearest bow and throw up.
Rip.
Artan does
Yes,
not like ships.
You might even notice that for the first time in a very long time, you reek. You don't smell that scent that you're so used to, the scent that of your own, of the pheromones that you've always released. It smells like terrible, unwashed for perhaps a year, Dio.
You smell like shit, Artan.
He'll muster up words. I feel like shit.
I don't suppose anyone knows how we got here.
Notice all the crew are working. They're not paying much attention to you. The only one who seems to be watching you is the captain, or what you'd assume to be the captain, up at the top steering the ship. Sorry, Rococo, go ahead.
Snapping her head, hearing Rilame, there's a momentary relief, and she just goes, "We were saved, and that's what matters. We can't let the sacrifices be in vain." And Rococo looks at Sage, because we didn't lose our memories, right? We still know what happened, right?
Yes. So
Okay.
at first when you woke up, it was like not there. Like you had the dream, so it may not have made sense, but then it was a flash, and all the memories you've had come back.
All right. So, like, Rococo's looking at Sage, knowing that Charlie was one of the people that sacrificed themselves. And then, almost like a bitter pill, she, like, looks away and sort of, like, makes a clicking noise with her tongue, knowing that technically she has somewhat acknowledged that her father sacrificed himself for them, although it still leaves a bad taste in her mouth. Anyway, elephant in the room. Safarine and Gantar don't seem to be here.
Yeah.
Artan will quickly look around looking for Safarine. What do you mean they're not here?
I mean, I would assume unless they're still in their rooms, but I'm sure everyone felt the same way, that something was missing.
And you still do feel each other's presence. It's almost in a weird way like a unseen connection, as if each of you were reaching out with a phantom limb to just lightly put a hand on each other's shoulders. You can feel each other's presence, and to a small degree, it can change depending on distance. But of Gantar and Safarine, there is nothing. As Rococo said, a void where perhaps something should be.
Given what happened, we can only hope they're safe at home.
It is wishful thinking. Rococo's going to look at the charm bracelet and see if their charms are broken, because that implies that they're dead.
They are not broken.
For what it's worth, assuming that this still has some semblance, they should still be alive.
I guess there's that at least.
Can I see, is it visually obvious that their staff is messed up like my weapon?
Yes.
Or from my distance across the deck, would it be something I wouldn't notice, do you think?
No, absolutely. I mean, you are pretty close. That's only like 15 feet apart.
Okay. Yeah. My eyes will snap over, and you're assuming it kept what your staff and my hammer didn't, and Sage is just gonna put his hand in his right pocket and pull out a handful of just hammer splinters.
I'm going to put it this way. Isn't it nicer to think that it is rather than it isn't?
I think right now we need some positivity more than anything.
Sage slips the splinters back in his pocket, and hope and positivity are the only reason that I'm keeping these wooden splinters, so I'd have to agree.
Artan will just turn back and look over the edge and just slump down, just processing everything. I have one question. Did we make the right decision?
Was there really a right decision?
It was for the betterment. Either we did it or we did nothing.
Well, unfortunately, we might have doomed our world.
Rococo looks backwards.
Sage is just gonna silently put his hand on Artan's back, hoping to bring some sort of comfort, whether it be while he's vomiting over the edge or just the respite in between.
Perhaps to Sage's disgust, you do see that his vomit is slowly drifting through the air back down the ship and off into the distance.
Oh.
Matt, I really thought this sentence would come much later in the campaign, but I fucking hate it here.
Artan will take a deep breath of sadness and just relax. Just trying to get his bearings.
Well,
And Rococo, you said you looked back. What was going on?
Rococo looked back as if like they had like some sort of understanding, like if that there was potentially maybe another choice, but they just didn't take it. Like if she had known something, or if caught on sooner, you know, some sort of like a little bit of a guilt there, like, you know, here I am, some sort of herald, and I couldn't see this coming type of deal. But apparently that's not the case anymore, you know. But Rococo does go, well, with that much said, as much as we owe our lives to my father and Charlie, we also owe our lives to whoever is in charge of this vessel. We should at least thank them proper.
Is no one still paying attention to us? Like nobody's paying attention to us, right?
Yeah, I think at
Correct.
that prompt we would probably all start looking around. Sage does.
Well, people are watching, but they seem to almost see to understand that whatever is going on, whatever befell you, it was hard, and because and given your state, that probably isn't easy to understand.
Sure.
They're doing what they need to. They're calling back to each other, but they are doing it quietly, as if to give you some space. The only thing you do notice is that the lady at the wheel is watching you. You do see standing behind her are two other individuals. One is a dwarf who does look much like the rangers from your home. Some that actually used to be pretty common in the Blackspire homes. And one person that is dressed very interestingly. It's a fashion that you haven't seen before. And you're not quite sure what to think of it. It's not going to be necessarily wrong from what you've experienced, of course, but it definitely seems unusual even by your guys' tastes.
Side note, this looks like something I would imagine a human KO to be.
Oro chose wisely. As you guys are looking around, and some of you catch the eyes of the captain, the lady looks, nods, and then just looks at you, nods for a moment, says something behind her. Again, seems to be speaking more for your benefit, to be respectfully and quietly.
Of course.
And then the dwarf replaces her. And she, after unfortunately grabbing a stool, so he's a little tall enough to do it, but she does grab the weirdly dressed gentleman and begins to move towards you, stepping down the ladder with a practice movement, and walks down the side. She does not have her weapons out, of course. She is definitely walks with authority, and she does have that rolling step that you've known is pretty common among those on the open sea and those who are used to ships. This guy's gonna go
12. We should have 12. 8 plus 4 is 12.
Just quick question on this one. Just since Artan was raised in a military family, would he automatically recognize that she's a figure of authority?
Yes. Yes. The way she walks, the way others make way for her, the way the dress that she has. Both you and I would say also Rilame are used to this. She is clearly the captain of the ship. Now, what if you don't recognize the insignia on or the emblem on her left breast? That seems to be some sort of badge. It looks like the wing of some, what you could maybe suggest would be like an albatross that is over a stylized ship with two masts. It seems to be completely made of silver, about 3 inches round. And she comes towards you. There is the jingle of the chains that are upon her body, that also, as well as the rattle of her scabbards, as she does carry 2 long blades at her side. And she
Artan
approaches.
would, oh,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
as she approached, Artan would wipe his mouth, take another deep sigh, and try to present himself as quickly as possible.
If I may, while he's doing that, we're still in the tatters of our old clothes. That would be Sage's like green vest and everything, right? With the white ruffle collar. He's gonna just rip what's left of the white ruffle collar off and hand it to Artan like a fucking rag.
Artan will take it and wipe his mouth. Wipe his mouth, whatever sits on his face, and hands it back. Thank you. He'll say thank you.
Sage waves his hands like he doesn't want it back.
I'll offer to anybody else who needs it.
Here, would you like my vomit-stained piece of clothing?
I am being helpful.
Rolame, Zirin, or Rococo, what are you 3 doing as this woman approaches?
Rilme is going to compose herself a bit and step forward towards her and ask, would you happen to be the captain here?
When she speaks, it is in a voice a little heavy, definitely a deeper tone for a woman. But she does speak with a strange accent, not one that you recognize. And she says, "Yes, that is me. I am the captain of this ship. Welcome to... Get my ship's name real quick. Welcome to the Shadow Thrust." Don't gag over there on your smoke, friend.
What?
All right, I'm
I
back.
know, you know-
Sorry, for stepping away.
You just can't throw thrust into the names randomly. Expect me not to fucking gag. I like it though.
That
It's
it was
a ship.
That it was literally like inhaling, and then I said that, and his eyes went wide. He started hacking up a lung.
That's funny.
I like the ship name. It's appropriate. I'm just a fucking child. I'm sorry.
That's right. Now looking at the lot of you, I suppose, given the tatters, but the way that your clothing does look, it does seem that you were nobles at some point. So I believe it is only proper that I introduce myself first. She throws back her cloak, bows very, very, I would say almost royally, like someone who's definitely has almost a grace to her. And she bows and she says, "I am Lady Zierden. And this," and she gestures toward her companion. I know I made the name, but still. This is Brom Kaltvargan. He's my apprentice.
Hello there.
Rome, hey?
Zirin would size her up for a second without saying anything, or putting his arm over his chest and doing the stiffest, most uncomfortable looking bow ever.
Yeah, I was gonna say Sage would like lightly put one foot forward, still very not animated, but give just a very half-hearted bow back in respect.
Artan would just straight up bow, like mid-halfway. Just the most uncomfortable back-aching bow.
I think it probably stings a little bit, at least for Sage, that she said you were nobility at one point, and the irony with the fact that our families are the nobility that we just fucking overthrew. Probably a bit of a scowl at that.
Just
Coco
for a
doesn't
moment,
bow. Oh,
I just want to let you guys know if I'm out of character. Oral will be stepping away for a little bit. He's still there, but excuse me. Try to avoid speaking directly to his character. Right now, we'll focus on Lady Zierden.
Coco doesn't bow and just sort of actually verbally tells Lady Zierden, that won't be necessary. There's no need to prostrate yourselves. I'd hardly consider myself nobility. The others, they may not. I have disavowed my family, and they have disavowed me. We are more akin in rank than you think.
see. Well, welcome to the squall. To my squall. Sorry, your dress is different. Your appearance is different than any I've seen before.
Yes.
You do notice some interesting features about her. You can tell as she turns her head around, you notice that she has long ears. They are long ears of an elf. But one thing that stands out very differently is her eyes seem to sparkle, as if there are little lights inside of her eyes. And you see that parts of her skin almost glisten, as if they were covered in some sort of crystal. Definitely not something you've seen before, but something that is definitely stands out enough is to gather your attention.
Mm-hmm. If I may inquire, I have two main questions. One is, did you save us out of kindness, or do you expect us to work? Which I will understand if you expect us to work. I believe nothing in the world is given out for free. The other question is, as she looks around at like some of the other deckhands, I am a tiefling and also a Yuan-Ti. I prefer more tiefling than Yuan-Ti, but there are many races I see here that we are, at least I am, unfamiliar with. Just so as to not insult any of them, may I inquire of all of these races of which we do not know, yours included, if it does not offend?
She nods at the first request, almost like an appreciation, recognition of the request. She doesn't seem offended at all. In fact, she seems rather... It's difficult to get a read on her. Given your experience of time, she definitely seems like somebody who is very good, or at least adept, at masking what she is feeling. But she considers for a moment. She says, "We didn't rescue you necessarily out of kindness, no. We were told you would be here. We simply did as asked. We decided we came, not really expecting much, given the requestee, and found you floating in the void." She gestures around you. And at this moment, a shadow falls across you guys, as something enormous comes up from under the ship. Let me grab it for you.
Space whale.
Just FYI, Matt, you're fading out a little bit again.
It's like halfway through sentences sometimes.
I'm trying to figure out why some of my stuff is missing.
I mean, you're perfectly audible, at least on my end. It's just that your audio kind of gets cut in half almost, it seems.
Interesting. Actually, why are my images missing?
So,
That's
Lady
frustrating.
Searden is sparkly, huh?
Yep, give me just a second. I'm trying to figure out why. Oh, there they are. Okay. I'm gonna turn my gain up just a little bit. See if that helps a little.
Which means we're probably going to hear more of Brian, but not much we can do about that.
I actually turned it down during my class today, so. All right, so you guys see with the sound, with a rumbling that's not really, you recognize it as sound. You do definitely recognize that. But you know that at the same time, it's not a noise. It's not a sound you could put a name to. Let me see. Boom and boom.
Space whale.
You see a large creature. What resembles the whales you've seen before, but it is glistening, covered in a variety of these sparkling lights that glow from in a way that's almost, again, graceful, almost definitely unnatural in any variety. Given its shape and its size, it definitely strikes you as odd, and given the fact it suddenly showed up, might very well startle you a bit. and you guys are welcome to react as needed.
As it floats, I mean, is it coming at us? Does it feel threatening? What do we feel when I look at it?
Peace. It's very when it flies by, because it is flying, almost like it is swimming
Right.
through the air. You do see that it trails more of this strange mist that seems to permeate everything. And as you
Does the
do,
mist... Sorry, go
the
ahead.
mist does have an interesting thought. As it moves by, you almost hear like the laughter, the joyous laughter of children, the sigh of a contentment.
Is it
just a
close
fa-
enough
it's-
for any
I
of
was
the
gonna
mist
say,
to
it's
float
not the- it's
towards
like
us?
No, it's not floating towards you guys. It's basically it just comes up next to you and continues flying upwards, because there doesn't seem to really be an up or down here.
Right.
It's amazing.
Sage reaches out a hand, just kind of almost reaching for the mist. Like just kind of focused on it. Content, I guess, under, the other roiling emotions, taking a moment of reprieve where it comes.
Okay, and I'll give everybody a chance to kind of respond here. So, who would like to go next? Who would like to explain how they react to this?
Well, like I said, well, I don't know if we actually went through, but Real Mage just says that's amazing. And watches it and kind of similar to Sage, and kind of the like sad contentment for the moment, just going through the motions at the moment.
Has to be the same thing for Zirin. He'd look up and he would be in awe, but like you can see in his eyes that there's just too much despair for him to show it.
Is anything different
Because-
from? Go ahead.
Artan will just
Either one.
speechless. Just a single. The tears start to come back as it's just a beautiful sight. Too much for words for him.
Rococo goes, I wonder
Hold
what
on.
it tastes like.
Weird. You guys just went completely silent for me. Were you still talking?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
weird. Say it again.
What it tastes like, and then look at the captain. Do we eat those?
The captain kind of smirks at that, and just she seems to find some enjoyment in how you react. And she says, sometimes, yes. I see this is your first encounter with a star whale.
I think this is our first encounter in the stars in general.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
this
The
is-
what?
This is all different to us.
Oh, it's not uncommon to find wanderers in the mists of the deep ethereal. Strange that you're floating in it, but most do stay in Ornos their whole lives. Not that surprised.
Ornos.
Where are we?
Her eyes kind of like she looks confused. Her eyes tighten. She cocks her head to the side. Yes, Oranos. Unless you came from one or the other. Are you from Deal?
Artan will cock his head sideways and just say, like, "Hold on. There was more continents."
Oh, that's interesting. She kind of takes a moment to look at Brahm. Looks back at a lot of you. There's definitely a change. If you like, you can roll insight to see if you can get quite what she's feeling here.
Okay.
These people are stupid.
Is that an
Great
open
start.
roll for everyone to use, or no?
Everybody can use it. Yes. Do you want me to send you a request for it?
Oh, I just rolled. I'm sorry.
Why do I keep
Okay,
getting
that's fine.
errors?
Yeah, there are a lot of errors happening.
Oops. I didn't mean to roll that.
Are they? I'm
It's
not
just
seeing
an
them.
update
Lacks
chat
permission to update chat message. Yeah.
Oh, is that what
It's
you were
not
talking
a
about
big
last
one.
session?
Okay. Is it just asking permission at this point?
Yeah. I'm getting that too.
Are you able to accept it?
No,
no,
not,
it's like
No.
a
just an
red
error
banner message at the top. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I go next out for now.
I've just
trying
seen
to
it
figure out
like
what's
50
causing that.
times so far.
Yeah, you're fine. I don't
Weird.
think it's affecting anything for
Mm-mm.
us right now.
Yeah, it's not that big a deal.
Apparently, it's having issues finding a bone knight. All right. Well, whatever. So,
I'll say that Rilla May is currently too distracted to pay attention to her words.
Sage has fixated on one detail and is kind of just chewing on that until it's time to ask.
looking at when it comes to Rococo, Rococo, you get the feeling that something is absolutely amiss here. And she seems like it's not that she doesn't quite believe you so much as she seems suspicious, but not in a negative way. Perhaps not necessarily suspicious of you, but suspicious of what you're saying.
Mm. Rococo goes, you said earlier that someone told you that we would be here.
Thank you.
That someone happened to be... I forgot their names in the notes, but it was basically, the one guy that we would have, the hero guy that helped us through, the thing.
Oh, you're talking about Lurend, or Lurend is the...
Not Allurand, the guy who helped us with the
Alamir.
other... no, not Alamir. Well, maybe any of the... maybe we should just list the names out. I'm thinking of the guy that helped us. There was Serenade, and there was the other deity, but then some other guy that I'm trying to remember his name. I don't know if he was a deity or not. The prince. There we go. The prince. Okay. Yeah.
I had to find his name again, but the prince of the remnants. And she would say, no, the message that we received came from the Apostle of the Watcher.
The what?
The representative of Myrias.
Looks at Rococo.
All eyes on Rococo, yep.
Rococo looks at her staff and feels like a shithead and just goes, okay, I guess you didn't abandon me after all. And she goes, and by Apostle of Myrias, am I assuming she was referring to my father? Or just,
if you would,
the Watcher?
You could assume that. I mean,
Okay.
that's something you can assume. The Watcher is the title of Myrias.
Okay, the Watcher is the title of Myrias. Okay.
Yeah, she's Myrias the Watcher.
So I would know Myrias. Yeah, all right. So then she'd go, I see. So then are you a herald as well?
No, I am a squaller. I simply... Interesting. Okay, well, assuming your memory is maybe a little interested, a little messed up, let's explain your answers in the order in which you asked them. Explain the answer to your questions. The first being, why again did we try to help you? We already answered that. That would be that the Apostle of Myrias asked us to be here, saying you would be here, and that there would be several of you. She didn't say how much. As far as who and what we are, I am a star elf. That's what my kind are known as. We are the inherent. We are the first inherent squallers for this species. As far as the others, they are Ganassi, members of elemental races. Pretty common. Actually, it seems more. It's actually more interesting that many of you are races I don't know. That's not.
I imagine a lot of blank stares.
Yes. None of you have heard those before.
Yep.
The closest that most of you look would be to Brahm here. It was about as human as they come.
Yes.
To be fair, I only found out recently that I wasn't. I mean, I knew I wasn't human, but exactly what I was.
As for the rest, I would assume that you do not want to stand here on the deck of my ship, talking to someone you don't know. How about we go downstairs and have a true conversation?
Yes, if I would be so bold, could I suggest that we have a change of attire first?
I was just thinking that.
I was about to say something. It just dawned on Artan that he stinks. And possibly a bath too.
We
I
can.
don't know how likely you're going to find a bath here.
We have a few things we can do. Yes. Unfortunately, our ship is not built for quite the number of people we have, so I will unfortunately have to set up some food on the second deck. But try not to touch any. Try not to pull any strange strings. I don't need guns firing off. And she is going to give you guys some time to actually go through what you need to. She's going to take you down. I'm going to grab you guys again. Is Brahm going to go with them, Oro?
Sure, he'll
Not
tag along.
into the showers, but you know what I mean.
Oh, of course not.
Brahm's just following us into our showers one by one.
Staring at you menacingly.
What? You know what?
I'm going to post you guys over here. Not send you out into the middle of the void.
I'd be okay with that at this point.
Hey, voids can be fun sometimes.
Okay. Well, if we have time to do that, I would say that even though Rococo was the one who sort of like initiated it all, I think someone would have to go get her. And then if
Out of the
anybody
shower?
read, well, not out of the shower, just out of the room.
You guys basically got to take. She does. There is a door at the back of this room over here that is locked. There is. It says Gunner. It's actually a statue right in front of it. But otherwise, this room will have quite a bit of clothes in it, as well as a tub that will be pulled in for you to use.
Question. Did
Yes.
any of the ships that we traveled on have cannons?
No, even by your standards, your home had much more advanced technology. You use magical beams or firing spells from the cannons. This is the first time you've seen anything like this. These are definitely like you can see that these are like you might even see this as primitive compared to what you had, but they had similar shapes. So who's going to? I'm guessing who would like to be the one to go get Rococo when the time comes for her turn.
Why not? Cyril just raise his hand and be like, I'll do it. It's probably the least first off to get smacked down, and second, probably the only one willing to take it.
I'll look over at Zirin for a hot moment and says like, what happened to you?
He's still holding the remnants of Borden Thunder in his hand, but when you ask that, you'll see him like squeeze it. He'll look down and you'll hear like the faintest of just it's nothing, and then he'll turn to walk away.
No. I was asking what happened to his muscles.
Oh, he
Are-
knows. He knows.
He
He's
doesn't
Are-
want to
he's
acknowledge
been-
the fact that he's not ripped anymore.
He's been deterred from not only just the past but everything. I mean, he woke up from going from being a barbarian, this big fucking brute, to just him.
Artan will sigh and put a mental note here. I'll have to apologize later.
I mean, you said your strength is what, 15? That's nothing to turn your nose up at.
But
Compared to
it's
what
a
it
far
was
cry
before.
from the like 20 I think he had before.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I had 20 strength.
it's like
Your, I
think
think
of
your
like
Constitution
Arnold.
is also like 7 points lower too.
Yeah,
Better than having a 7.
Fair. Like he lost all of his strength but kept all of his agility.
But you guys are, one by one. You get some alone time to bathe, to dress. Unfortunately, you will find very similar clothing to what Braum was wearing. Vests and trousers for the men of a type you're not familiar with. Belts that actually have a ratcheting system to lock it in place. You do find the strange hats that they have and the tucked in shirts. For both Rilame and Rococo, both being feminine in appearance, you are both laid out dresses. These dresses are of a very different design, similar in nature, you would say, to what you've seen in the from your times, but definitely of older cuts. For those of you who have never seen it before or have any idea, these are like Victorian dresses, but they do not have the enormous bell shape. It's just a simple dress. Lots of lace, way more lace than you would have expected.
Hey, Matt.
Mhm.
Would they happen to have so what I put in there for the jester's stage clothes?
Mhm.
I'm assuming that's very similar to what you were describing.
Well, as far as the clothes go, I mean, it's Victorian era style is effectively the
Yeah,
point.
if you just click that down where you can read it, I think I would be able to get that here.
Yeah, that sounds pretty Victorian.
Like,
to me,
it's
honestly.
very surprising how well that worked out, I think.
Yes, because for you that would be a jester's outfit. So I mean, I said your guys' home. You had advanced trends. You guys were the ones who set a lot of the trends. So did your siblings. So for you, like, this does seem almost like a joke in some of the way they're dressed up, because it definitely seems like something you'd see in a playhouse or some sort of theater.
Just because I'm looking at pictures, is it more of a like lighter traveling dress, or are we talking the full blown things?
The full blown things.
So Victorian. I say Victorian is like it's lace ruffle and yeah.
Well, so as an
Ruffle.
example, look at Jane from Tarzan. She switches between, I think, a couple different outfits, and one is like a more travel-y type of dress.
I put in the chat for you.
Oh, with the puffy sleeves and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh god, that's a wonderful dress just on its own.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
I'd say
there's
if-
ripping involved.
That's actually more of what I was talking about. Oh, actually, kind of between what I was talking about.
Here, Matt, I'll send it to you in case you want your partner to have one.
So I don't know what order we're going in, but Sage is definitely just going to come out in what I typed there. Like white shirt, black vest, and then the black coat covering most of it.
Very Ichabod Crane.
Yeah. Very somber.
I think
You
Arden's
will.
probably gonna be-
You do have access to some simple makeup if you wanted to like paint your, like some of the. If you wanted to like stick with some of the facial paint at all, it's up to you though. But I'm just saying there is.
I mean,
some
if he's quarried on, he's already looking like that, right?
He's hasn't gotten to that point, but over the next couple of days he will.
Oh, okay. It's kind of accelerating towards the end of it here.
Yep.
Okay. Got it. Then yeah, he won't have that just yet. He'll just be a normal looking face. You know what? Thank you. That also gives me the chance to have the big moment. I like that. Appreciate you.
Yeah. All right, so that moves then. Who would like to be next?
Zirin
Elective.
when he comes out, he'd be almost as if like just basic. He'd have like a black undershirt with black vest. He wouldn't have a jacket, but he would have, since you said that the straps or like the ratchets, he wouldn't know how to do it at first, so he would just put one on like it would be a harness. So he'd have like black pants, black shirt, but he'd have like the leather harness over his chest.
How does one do this?
Even if it looks stupid, he doesn't know, so he would just have it like almost as if he was trying to put on like shoulder pads, but without the shoulder pads.
Artan will come out, black pants, white shirt, sleeves rolled up, but the vest is just probably a tad too small for him, where just enough it looks good buttoned up or unbuttoned.
It actually, you'd be surprised, because it's actually a little too big for you, because they put you in the same the clothing meant for the big dude that's made of stone.
Okay, reduction. Just something you'll see like a kid wearing an oversized shirt, just a tad bit. It's like,
Oh god, a kid wearing his dad's clothing.
yeah. It's like, I think this is.
That's a first.
You know what? I look good without this. Here, somebody else can have it.
So Zirin, you come out. Oh, that leaves Rilame and Rococo.
I was trying to find a picture of something I liked, but I'm not having any luck.
That's fine.
Okay.
You can decide later.
Well, I mean, the first thing would be that when Zirin goes to get Rococo, would see that Rococo is just laying on the bed in just her underwear and just staring at the ceiling. Basically not getting dressed yet, sort of just in a state of mind.
All bits are covered, right?
Yeah, all bits are covered, but she's just wearing the undies, bra and undies.
We're gonna have to roleplay this out, or like let's play this out here. It's gonna sound like an asshole, like a hard asshole. Like yeah, he's trying, but like you tell he's rough.
Okay.
Did you want to roleplay it out?
Sure, why not? Go ahead. Let's roleplay out this situation that might make Sage jealous in the future.
Well, okay, not that far now. I'd give a hard knock on the door as if like a kind of to try to get your attention.
She goes, "It's open."
Zirin will twist the door and he won't shove it all the way open, but he'll shove it just enough for his voice to project through to say, are you okay in here? It's taken a minute. Everyone else is ready.
Define okay, Zirin.
He'll stand holding the door in silence for a moment, and he'll ask, "Are you decent?"
As decent as I need to be.
Oh God! All right, well, he'll open the door and come in, and seeing as you're still in your underwear, he'll quickly kick the door shut behind him to keep you privacy. He'll turn to face the wall and say, "You can't come out dressed like that if you plan to come out at all."
I guess. All of this stuff just feels strange. Why are you acting so embarrassed? You've never seen a girl in her skivvies before?
If you look toward him, he'll like pick his head up as if like you think he's gonna laugh for a second. Then he'll put his head back down and say, "No, I give people their privacy, even if I've seen them before."
You definitely have seen Rococo nude as a man, not so much as a woman at this point.
Woman, yeah. I'll repeat that too. Like I've seen you one way before, but not this way.
Well, did you like what you saw?
He's not giving a comment to that. He's just going to say, if you're going to need help getting dressed, I can help. But if you don't need help, I'm going to go.
Oh, Zirin. And then
You can feel the tense. Like it's not just like the uncomfortable tense. It's like he like you could look at him and tell he's ready to like just his hope is gone. Like he just looks like a shell.
Yeah, you can tell that energy is mutual, and it's sort of like why Rococo's in the situation that she's in. To describe it, it's basically like, you know, your girlfriend or something like knows they have to go to work, but they don't want to get dressed to go to work, and they just want to lay in the bed and they don't want to move. You know, it's that energy is what you're getting. And she just goes, "Okay, I'll be there in a bit.
Okay.
I've got an idea."
He'll keep his eyes covered to keep your privacy safe, and he'll quickly open the door, slip back through, and say, "For what it's worth, things will get better. We'll do our best." And then he'll close the door behind him.
Oh, he's such a sweetheart. Rococo gets up and then puts on this dress, pretty much. How do we do image to chat? I could just do.
You should be able to just literally copy and paste it.
Oh, so like copy image and paste.
Yeah.
All right, so I go copy image. Go back here. Try and paste it. Control V. Oh, yeah, there we go.
It's an interesting mod. It
basically-
definitely is nice.
She's basically gonna wear that, but she's going to tear 3 high.
I was waiting
So-
for that.
Yeah, she does not like. This is way too floofy for her taste, so she's going to tear it basically to knee high. Make sure that there's room to move.
Okay, I thought Rilame was going to do that.
Not to start with, anyway.
And then she'll keep her old clothes, just, you know, as the remnant of like her former Eastern lineage. Maybe she can fix them later. And then she comes out and she just has like the look of, I don't have my morning coffee, but I guess I have to deal with the day anyway.
When you step out of that room, you just see... Wait, is Rilame out of the room as well?
I don't know. I hadn't gotten a turn yet.
Okay, never mind.
She's the last one. So Rilame, as it's your turn, you're coming out.
I come out wearing a full dress, similar to that picture, but like with a sky blue instead of the gray. And she's neatened herself up as much as she can, because that's what she does.
When Rilame comes out of her room,
Mhm.
Artan spots her and tries to look around to see if she has her bunny tail poking out as well.
I don't think I actually gave her a bunny tail in this.
Never mind.
It's just the ears.
Wait. Oh.
Did you know that bunnies are my favorite animal?
Then I just say, "Oh, you look so adorable. Your ears complement your dress."
Thank you.
I just say that blurtly out loud.
And she just says thank you. It's a
Comes
little
back
different
out.
than what I'm used to, but
If Safarine were here, she'd probably love this.
Oh God, you are right.
Ooh.
Saffreen would fucking love
Oh,
this.
Did you say that
Right now
in
it's-
character?
Yes.
Artan
I
just
didn't,
sighs.
so.
Single tear, just between the hair falls.
Now, there is something I want to clarify with something here. This bond with each other. If you are to try and use insight, you will get advantage when it's on each other. Okay?
Okay.
Until I say otherwise.
Oh.
Because you can feel each other's emotions. Just very lightly. So it's not enough to guarantee what you get, but it gives you a better chance.
It is since 8.
So, now, Ladies Yerden and Braum have left you for the moment. They said to let them know by simply knocking on the actual door at the top of the stairs over here when you are ready. So that way they can give you a chance to kind of touch up, console, get yourselves together before they come in to talk to you.
If nobody else makes the move, I'll head up and knock on the door.
Okay. Now, with that said, we are going to have the door open, and the captain will lead the way. She looks you over and seems to almost inherently notice that, or assume that you guys are ready. As you are going to, let me see, double check this. As you move to the side to let her down, she gestures for you to go first. And she will then follow after you, coming down the stairs. But there is a level of respect. As she looks over everybody, she definitely seems to be taking in your appearances. The only one that she does double take on would be, actually two that she give double take on, would be Artan, due to the fact that he is wearing way too much clothing. That is definitely big on him. And then Zirin, who has yet to be able to figure out how to put the belt on correctly.
Oh, so hold on. He has a belt on that's working. With the one you said that has like straps to it. You said it was like
well, the ratcheting was the actual belt itself, because the way it's like.
Oh, okay.
I have one, but basically when you feed it in, it clicks until it stops exactly where you want it to be. So.
Okay, well,
but
so
there are clothes like suspenders, as an example. You're not used to suspenders. That would be one you could for sure not know how to do.
Okay, then yeah, I'll say instead of the belt, like he's got a belt, let's just say it's like suspenders that he's like they're wrapped around, but he doesn't know how the fuck they work.
Your pants, you have to like hold it up a little bit because you're like, oh, this isn't staying.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if we were allowed suspenders.
Yes.
I think he's got the belt, but I think the suspenders would just be like an overkill because he doesn't know how to use it.
Oh, well, that's what was left for you. So you kind of assumed to a point, basically.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Artan's clothes would be falling off if he didn't use the suspenders. So
Yeah.
But as you guys, as she looks around everybody, she looks at Zirin especially, looks to Braum and says, "Braum, would you help the men? Clear that they are not used to this style of clothing."
Of course. And Braum will march over, standing a fair head or so taller than most people, 6'3".
So before you go to actually grab Zirin, but like even as you walk up, he gets tense and takes a step back.
Braum will take a step back himself and he'll ask, "Whoa there, is everything all right?"
You'll see through his hair, his eyes. You can't really tell exactly, but he'll look at you and you'll feel as if like you're being not watched by a predator, but like an observer from somewhere is eyeing you down. He'll say almost in like a low tone, you have to remember, I'm still new to you. I'm not exactly used to people being in my personal space.
All right. Braum will stay where he is, and he will instead mime how the clothing is supposed to be worn.
At first, Zirin will be a little confused, but then he'll pick up on it and be like, "Oh," and then he'll follow what you do to fix it. He'll look at you for a moment, and you'll see like the observation's still going, but it's not as tense. And he'll say, "I'm sorry, I still have to get used to new place, new things, and things lost."
No, you're fine. I mean, my concern is less with that and more with how you ended up here.
Your guess is as good as mine.
yeah, I don't think any of us
So
know how we got here.
This wasn't intentional. You didn't end up on the wrong end of a gangplank, did you?
So to pause right there, I will explain a little bit more for you as well, Oro. So there's some information for you. You guys had actually been traveling out from the plane of fire. You guys had actually were en route back from the city of Deal. As you were going, your seer, Noin, had received a message from Oranos, indicating that the Apostle of the Watcher, which the fact that you hear anything from the Watcher is startling, and who said that you are given directive to go, your ship is to go to a specific coordinate, which is very interesting considering you normally can't find a specific coordinate in the deep ethereal. And you would go this way, specific time, specific distance, and you would find some people, and you were to bring them on board, show them as much kindness and as much decorum as you can, and then when available, bring them to the cathedral. Which your captain wasn't exactly upset by that. More, she seemed concerned and confused because the apostles they are the representatives of the primaries, and they don't normally speak to a normal squaller. They're usually the ones spoken to by the Nine or by nobility, some people with authority and power. And they don't normally speak to just a random squaller, even though your captain is, a good standing member of the Squallers. It doesn't change that she wouldn't have the standing necessary to speak at all to a member of the apostles. So now you don't know exactly where they came from. That's still fair. So everything you've said at this point makes sense. I just wanted to interfere before it got too far, and that you don't know why they're here, who they are. That was never given to you, nor was the seer given that information herself. She just said, "Hey, look, this is what's been going on," and it's almost like there's not a question. When an apostle speaks, you do. That's just simple as it works. Just to explain that. Do you have any questions before continuing?
I guess, are the people that were rescued supposed to know that they were specifically tasked with being rescued?
There was no information one way or the other. But given that when you were on deck, they were asking that question, asking kind of what everything was, what everybody is. And given the fact that, in fact, you've never, whatever Relame is, you've never seen before. Same thing with Artan. And you have seen people like Rococo. You know what a tiefling is. And she doesn't really stand out as, anything unusual for a tiefling. But it's the other two especially. And in just a moment, we're going to go through and talk about what everybody looks like. So that is important here. But right now, that is kind of what you know. They didn't seem to understand, and they asked, Rococo had asked why they had been saved, was out of kindness or what? And the answer was that you guys had been called by the Apostle of the Watcher, and that is something that definitely seemed to startle them. What does sound strange is they were talking about continents. They were talking about home, that is, or naming someone sound like a noble that they wondered if you would know, and none of that sounds familiar to you. In fact, you're the only continents you know of are some of the planes have them, but that's no way that would require being on the outer belt, the astral plane, not in the ethereal. These only connect to the elemental planes. So that's where we are.
In other words, everybody's confused.
You could say that.
Zierden is going to she's going to tap you on the shoulder to kind of push you a little bit out of the way. As she moves forward around him, she is going to gesture towards the center here. And she's going to gesture upwards, and she does. You see the ground sparkle from it, very similar to the sparkles you see in her eyes and part of her skin. And you see the wood grow, almost seeming to seamlessly. There's no sound, as if it's forming from around you into chairs, forming finally a table right where this pillar would be. There's basically a pillar, and with a table around it, which Oro Braun would know that she's just manipulating the natural ethereal energy from this plane, something unique to Star Elves that they can do. So she's just manifesting it here, so for ease of access. And she's going to say, "Let's all have a seat. Seems there are things we need to discuss."
I will take a seat.
Same. Zero walk up, take a seat, but he'll sit with his arms crossed and across his chest.
I'll sit next to Zarin.
I sit on Sage's lap unless he indicates that he doesn't want me to.
There's not really a reaction. We'll just look at the captain wanting to talk.
You guys do see that one thing that is odd, and it really isn't obvious until you go to sit, that the chairs only have one leg.
Oh.
And yet when you sit, it balances perfectly. Adjusting, if you want to lean back, it'll lean back to exactly where you want it to be. Somehow defying what you understand to be reality.
Huh, this is weird.
And Braum, you would just know, that these chairs are, were made in Bitopia, which is, I haven't gotten all the names for them yet. We're going to go with Bitopia for this one. They will always adjust to the weight of the person, and to the gravity.
But what if
they understand?
2 people?
Oh, it still works. How?
Okay.
That's very unusual, but it is very much working.
I'm gonna roll an insight check on Sage.
Go ahead and roll with advantage in this case. Ooh. Sage, with a 25, she'd be able to read you really well, which makes a lot of sense in all your time together. What do you think? What do you think that that you would be feeling right now for her to register?
Rococo would definitely be able to tell that as soon as they sit down, there is kind of okay. Stop myself. Necro, I swear to God, don't make this fucking weird.
I won't make it.
You will.
I don't.
When Rococo sits down, there is I don't have another word to avoid what he's gonna do.
Okay.
There's
It's-
a stiffness that runs through Sage. He's
Okay. All right.
He jolts,
Huh.
and he doesn't make any kind of negative anything visually. There's no face, there's no balling of the fists, there's nothing inherently negative. It's almost surprise or shock, and you can tell that while something almost hurtful is happening, not hurtful to Rococo, but hurtful to Sage. Sage also just wants to be able to comfort anyone that is, in this situation. You're clearly sitting there for a reason, so he wants to be a source of comfort.
Okay. Want to ask, with the 25 insight, is Sage mourning Charlie, basically?
Oh,
right?
5,000 fucking percent.
Okay. So picking up on that, Rococo sitting on your lap was also sort of a way for her to initiate this, in a sense. And she just goes, "Hey, we both lost people we considered important to us. but we still have each other. And I want to say that I can somewhat empathize with you. And if I'm being honest, I just sort of want to be near somebody right now. And I don't know if that feeling extends to you as well, but I just... In between you and me, Artan, because he's wearing all that clothing, it is making him sweat and stink again. So that's why. I mean, there's more to it than that, but what I'm trying to get at is I'm here for you, Sage, and I know I haven't been the best person up until this point. I'm trying to find myself again, I guess. I just feel like if you don't want me to sit on you, it's understandable.
So Sage would... There's no words yet, but Sage would just kind of lean his head forward and rest his forehead on Rococo's back. And then put a hand forward. Who the fuck was that?
Brian. Can't really do much
Is that
about him,
from-
unfortunately.
No,
Was that
it
from my
was
side?
wonderful. It sounded it was funny. Anyways, he'd reach a hand forward looking for Rococo's hand.
Rococo takes your hand and just goes, Sage, I mean, I'm going to tell everyone this to some degree, but... And she, whispers in your ear and just goes, we both know there's a monster inside of me. There's a monster inside all of us, but only really mine and, well, I guess Artan's really presented itself, and it could be argued that yours did too at one point, but if there's one thing that I think can help us with the monsters inside us, it's each other. And I feel like I really need someone to keep that in check, because you know how I can be. I don't obviously want to give you this responsibility if you don't want it, but do you want to tame each other's monsters?
Need myself. Do it.
I'm trying to... Brain is trying to work right now.
Fair enough.
It's the wording of it.
So to give you a second to think, I'm going to say this: if I can nominate two, I'm nominating two at the end of this, because I'm sitting here with the music playing. I'm in fucking tears. I'm in tears.
Do it.
God.
Do it.
Sage with his face in Rococo's back would just, muffled, and just say, of course.
Thank you.
And then there might, I don't know how thick the clothing is, but you might feel tears.
And she goes, I know I'm not Charlie, but I'll try my best to be there for you like she was, instead of pushing everyone away.
Thank you. It's kind of quick, but not like brush off quick, like hard to speak quick.
And one thing I want you to know is you don't need to be afraid to cry around me. And she kind of lifts your chin a bit, and you'll see that she's got tears forming in the side of her eyes, and she just goes, because I'm not going to be afraid to cry around you or anyone here anymore.
I heard your little footsteps coming alive, y'all.
Need to cry. I really need to cry now.
All right, so
sorry for the PDA, everyone. Sort of, Rococo tries to get everybody back into the meeting table sort of headspace.
I was about to say, out of curiosity, how much of this did we hear?
all of it
I
probably.
was
You guys are
wondering
right
that.
next to each other.
Everything
okay.
prior to the whispers. Everything prior to the whispers.
Something tells Artan just don't say anything and just pretend. Just look the other way.
Didn't hear the comment about sneaking.
No. Like that's a trap. I'm like you'll see Artan like sniff himself a quick bit.
I do think it's important right now that we take a moment to not only to our viewers but to each other, especially with a new player right now, that we show what our characters are, and who are, and kind of describe to each other not only in the moment what we look like, and but also what seems to be written on them. This is an emotional time, and right now your defenses are down, and you should describe how you look to everybody so we are aware of each other's emotional states. So
There.
So let's go ahead and start we'll start with Flo, and Flo's a good place to start. I will pull up your character images as we progress through them, but we're going to start with just a basic description of Zirin, as far as like, hey, how tall you are, get an idea, just to help people get an idea of, in their heads, of what we look like. But we're going to start with Flo here. This is Zirin. So when you're ready, go ahead.
So starting off, you notice that Zirin, he looks like not exactly what he looked when you first got together in the party. He looks like a more, I want to say, rugged look of himself, of what he used to look like. His hair is a lot longer. It's not as curly now. It's more straightened out, but it's a mess. It's everywhere. He looks like he just went 20 rounds in a boxing match with a bear, pretty much. You can't tell yet, but his eyes are hazel. At the moment, his hair normally covers it up, so it's hard to tell. He's got a nice dark, deep brown to his hair. It looks black from a distance, but it's a deep, dark brown when you look close enough. He's standing about pretty much 6 feet tall, like on just pretty much hit the border of 6 feet compared from 5'11". He lost all of his strength, so when you look at him, he does not look like the big muscle meathead as he used to. He looks more of like a basic, not bodybuilder, but someone who looks like he's still fit. You can tell he's definitely aged after everything had happened. He's got like the bags under his eyes. He looks like he was just death incarnate almost as a human. But as he stands now, he's currently sitting down, staring at the table, arms crossed, so pretty much like this. But you can tell, like, it looks like he's been put through the ringer and back. I don't know what else I should really add to it.
No, I think that's perfect. So who would like to go next? I go down my list, because next would be Artan in my hearing.
Yeah, just go down the
I
list.
can do that. Yeah, I can do that.
I don't have
Artan.
the power bottom face. Give me just a second to pull yours up.
I knew you were gonna pull it up. No, she sent that to me later. Artan stands at about 7 feet. Blue skin, red hair, with brown eyes. I'm about to change that. Oh God. Half of his hair is in dreads. But right now he's just slouched over, just trying to fit at the table. Right now, emotionally, he is just slowly taking everything in. The missing of his friends, this wondering if they made the right decision or not, and just the fascination of a new place. It's just, and then seeing his two friends comfort each other. That's what he loves to see. It at most he's in a box of emotions. That's probably the best way I can put that.
Yeah, it's fine.
But yeah,
All right.
that's all I got.
It is important to know for our viewers that Artan is a furbolg, which, as we explained earlier, furbolgs are not something that the captain nor Brahm has ever seen before. That is a race that is not common in this particular part of the universe. So just keep that in mind. The next then would be Sage down my list here.
Pop me up.
I don't want to eat.
Right. Where am I at?
Oh, you're not, yeah, you're basically just explaining. Give me just a second while
No.
I try to pull up your
Thank you.
character. I know.
Okay, yeah, no, that's all I was waiting on. I'm not asking for an update. So Sage is, currently just a very somber human. He just got out of the shower, right? We were just bathing. And while Sage usually pulls his hair back, keeps himself nice and tidy and neat, losing his old clothing, his nice emerald green vest and whatnot, he opted for a black long coat, a white shirt, and a black vest, black dress pants, and just an old pair of black dress shoes. Just a very blank kind of outfit, very, very basic, somber. I would say it's a little dramatic of an outfit, but Sage is dealing with a lot of loss. In fact, what would almost feel like losing oneself. He had previously had a second tenant in his head, one that was from his Zener, his source of power, that all of our characters had and lost. But his, had a little bit of residual person in it, and he grew to be quite fond of this person. That person, along with Rococo's father, sacrificed herself in the last battle of the last campaign, and Sage is freshly dealing with the loss of someone that he, for quite some time, was not without, but for a few moments whenever it would not speak. He no longer has his jester's mask, so at this point he is just a sad clown, and that's about it. He's trying to come to terms with a lot of decisions he's made in the past that I think we're at a grand total of 0 of them panned out. So he's very unsure of himself, and without Charlie's voice to help him make decisions, he's scared of really anything that he could desire or resolve to do. He is more scared of himself than anything this world could offer, I think. So what you're going to see is just a very broken shell of a person who doesn't have very strong opinions.
I think that's a very good description. Now, with that, then my list, I have Rococo next. So I will bring Rococo up. Now, Rococo, it is important to know that Rococo is a tiefling, something that is not, I wouldn't say greatly common, but it is definitely something that does show up in this game setting. It is something, however, that back at their home, Rococo was seen as kind of an unnatural thing, a mutation of the human genome. So, with that said, I will turn this over to John here. Go ahead when you're ready.
Okay, where do we begin? So Rococo, their real name is Saboshi Tsuchinoko. They were once a young boy, a young lad, but they had a unique power, one that we no longer have, and that unique power was the ability to basically discern lies. And after what happened and that power being lost, she's currently in this state of, well, how can I trust words of people anymore? It's sort of also what pushed her in this moment to sort of trust in Sage, because to her, Sage is the closest person and most trustworthy that she believes in. But prior to that, back to her youth, or his youth when he was still a he, basically, by being able to discern lies, they would receive wounds from those lies. And basically, when he was younger, his parents at the time, when he asked them the question, "Do you actually love me?" and both of them said yes, Rococo received one of the biggest cuts that they've ever received that almost narrowly killed them, implying that basically their parents did not love him. He had continued with this belief and spited his parents ever since, not wanting to live as a proper noble. And so basically at every turn, he would basically be a naughty little scoundrel, putting poopy on other noblemen's doorsteps and causing just generalized chaos. However, Saboshi had his brother, at the time, of who basically was the only one that he could confide in and had trusted, but they were also incredibly impressionable. Brother's name was Orochi, and basically after discovering... So basically, Rococo gained the ability to become the true self, whatever they feel like in that moment. And since they've lost their sense of self, they've become sort of gender ambiguous, but still primarily female. Currently, her expression and feelings right now is a sense of loss, like everyone else, but at the same time, she knows that if she falls to the depression, that everybody is going to essentially, like, somebody needs to basically put the foot down and be that person. Basically, when you see her, not very strong, but she has this presence about her, like a model on a catwalk, where basically you're like, oh, that person knows who they are, which is a stark contrast to how they actually feel on the inside at this current moment. They're actually incredibly tall, standing at 6'4" and 134 pounds, and 23 years old. Aside from that, I think that's all. Aside from her being a tiefling, which was already touched on, she's also half Yuan Ti, which is a inherently evil race in most cases, and she is basically someone who has struggled with not wanting to be evil and wanting to be like her grandmother, who was actually an Aasimar, who was an angel good person and her role model. But that should be it.
All right. That leaves our final member, Rilame. Rilame, I'll bring up in just a second. Rilame, lovingly also called Bunny Girl, is a Harengon, or at least our version of one. Now,
so this, but she has bunny ears.
Yeah, yep. I'm not going to do it yet, but there's probably going to be a point where we're going to have a poll of who's the more attractive between the two females in this group. But when you are ready, go ahead and explain what does Rilame look like. Generally idea of size, but also just generally what someone would see. and how is her emotional state? What is again? This is something that hiding emotions is going to be difficult because you guys have gone through so much.
Appearance-wise, Rilame has darker skin with strikingly silver hair and the ears, of course. It's actually now shorter than in this picture because she cut it during the part that we didn't play of the first half. So it's more like a little bit longer than a pixie cut, basically. She's got gold eyes, and she's actually fairly short, only about 5'2", maybe a little over 100 pounds, if that. But she sports a very beautiful body in general, and she's always been known to know how to use it. She has a generally confident air about her, very similar to Rococo, which does hide the absolute uncertainty that she always feels, which is in part of her original ability with luck, because the more certain she was, the less likely she was to succeed with something. As for... I have to explain a little bit of background because basically she got married to a woman named Boonir in order to save Boonir from being married to a slob of a man. And now she is feeling very...
as well.
Yep. She is feeling incredibly lost. She found the ring that symbolized their marriage cracked, and doesn't really know where or what to do. She feels like her decisions led the group in this... It's a selfish thought that she feels that her decisions led the group in the wrong direction because of her charisma and all of that. Yeah. So she's just kind of she's kind of numb at the moment, trying to put on her usual demeanor. That's all.
All right. And that leaves us, the last one to speak here is going to be Brahm, the newest member of our party, and one who will be adventuring with you. I guess the first thing I say is, Aura, does that give you a good picture of who you're going to be playing with?
I'd say it does, yeah. I mean, like, hearing it all off the cuff starting out, it's going to be hard to absorb that information. But as we go along, as I get to learn the characters more, it's going to be much more natural. Because for now, really, like, remembering character names, remembering character faces is going to be difficult. Like, of course, we have Artan, which is one of the more standout characters. He's a furbolg, which is definitely out of the norm for the party. And then, of course, we have Rilame, the bunny girl, and Coco, the tiefling, and Sage, the clown. So going through things like that, you know, is... I'll be able to put faces to names fairly soon.
I think anything past your basic names and faces, I think the big takeaway here would be we're just a group of people who, at the time of meeting, have a lot of fucking regrets and a lot of negative feelings to work out, is what you're
absolutely seeing. Yeah.
Now I will show you guys everybody. Brahm, I will have you describe yourself, and you know, you don't have to necessarily go into the emotional side of it because right now it's you. If you want to, you can. Just
the emotional side will be discussed later.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, go ahead.
It's not like they can read his thoughts or anything like that. So here we have Brahm called Fargan. He is a 6'3" stack of muscle, surprisingly well dressed for how brutish his appearance is. And he does have well-kempt facial hair in a sort of like mustache and beard combination. Mere demeanor, he appears to be fairly polite. He can definitely read the room and see that really nobody here is having a great time ending up on this ship. And just going by the rules of a ship in particular, he doesn't seem like a standard deckhand. That's about all I can say first and foremost for his appearance.
And the last thing being is that for those who are listening again, the style of clothing that is being found here is Victorian era. This is extremely unusual for the time that the rest of the party has come from, whereas Braum as well as the captain do utilize it. The captain is definitely more built like some sort of captain / soldier, like a swashbuckler. But this seems to be more of a preference because there are definitely hallmarks of the unusual design. Like example, you guys don't deal with pocket watches, and several times the captain has checked one, so you have no idea what the hell that is. But that is something that she does have a few of those kind of unusual designs. But with that, as you guys are absorbing kind of the moment as the captain is currently just kind of observing all of you, seeing how you're feeling. In fact, there's likely a good moment where it's just quiet around you. She lets you guys kind of think of what you want to ask and absorb what's going on. And finally she speaks. And again, the hesitation before, the confusion, it seems to have left her for the moment. And she says, so, we don't know much about exactly why we're picking you up. All we were told is that we are to take you back to the cathedral where the Apostle of the Watcher waits. What I can tell you are a few things. It's going to take us about 2 days to reach the port of entry. In that time, I do have a firm belief that idle hands are the devil's work. And as such, we will be ensuring that you have something to do. But not right away. Unless you wish it. If you choose to do so, that is completely fine. You'll be put to work as some simple things. Something to keep your minds off whatever it is you've experienced. I do find it interesting, however, that you do not seem to know where you are. And it's worth stating that you're the first ones I've ever met who do. When it comes to where you are, as I mentioned, you are in the deep ethereal. The deep ethereal is the wellspring of creation in the universe. It's where all things are made, where all things are sprung from. It's connected to the planes of the elements in which we are made. We are currently traveling along the shackles towards a fractal, a gateway towards Oranos. And this is where you'll meet with the Watcher. I don't know your stories, and you can share them if you desire. I will not force you to tell your stories, because this is not my place. I am simply a squaller. I simply do my job, and that is what I was commanded to do this. Do not think me heartless to the situation that you have. The universe is filled with people who suffer, and we all have our unique stories. Do not feel pressured to do more than you can. Simply keep yourself busy. We don't have much in the way of rooms here. We will make sure, however, to put out some cots for you. And some of the crew above have also volunteered to give you some of their rooms. If there are questions, I'll do my best to answer them. But I can tell you that if you don't know the basics of where we are and you do not understand what Oranos is, you won't understand the majority of what I have to say. But I'll do my best to help you. If you need me, I am almost always on deck. My kind do not sleep very much. If you need assistance, Braum will be the one best suited to help you. Braum, as I mentioned, is my apprentice. He is a squaller in training. I will tell you, do not go further than this deck. Our cargo hold has precious material, and it is something that very much is dangerous to those who don't know how to handle it. For your own safety, avoid it. If you need any assistance, and you cannot find myself or Braum, You could look to my first mate. His name is Ariad. He is the dwarf that you saw above, and I'm assuming you know what a dwarf is. You guys do. It's just he definitely does look a little different.
Well, we
Wait,
didn't
we'll just
really
nod
we
then.
didn't really know about them until after we left
Yeah.
Right.
Amratlas.
Yeah. You just saw them as just short humans.
Mhm.
It is important that you understand that here we are family. We do not. There are times that we will talk shit. There are times that will act like there will be fights. That's natural here. No one here is here to harm you. It is. I'm being honest when I say that there are a few things that you are more precious than the cargo below. The apostle has offered you her protection, and I will carry through with that protection. Once we arrive in Ornos, I will have Brahm take you to the cathedral. From there, it is best that we didn't discuss your future, as it is clear that there are some things we are not aware of. All I ask is one thing: where are you from? Do you know that? Can you remember?
Do we actually know the name of our world? I don't remember.
You guys know it as
Really know the
Gratiel.
content.
Gratiel is the overarching, it's like how we say Earth. It's just, that's the name of the planet.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to say the continent, that's a little bit different. We have continent names. Amratlas would be how you would introduce yourself, because everybody knows the greater nations, and Amratlas is one of them.
Right.
If you would like, however, given the likelihood of you maybe hearing about it, if you would like, you can roll an Arcana check for me, and I can tell you if you know the name of the plane you're on, you're from.
Yeah. Why not?
Oh well, I have a +2 to that.
Everybody can roll an
Let's
Arcana.
go.
That is completely fine.
I rolled a 1.
With the rules, you can spend 2 bennies to re-roll that.
I only have to spend 1. Remember?
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
Ooh.
I have to ask: is there going to be any combat in this session?
Not right now.
Okay.
Not unless
Then
someone starts
I'll
some
go ahead
shit.
and spend. I'll go
Okay.
ahead and spend 1.
We'll go upstairs and push somebody
Actually-
off the balcony.
No, I'm not. Realme doesn't have a reason to know anything about Arcana, so
I mean, to be fair, Gantar was your mage, so if with him not here, that does leave a hole in how you guys can kind of complete it yourselves. So Sage, Zirin, and Rococo actually seem to know. You guys remember, and this kind of does make sense. You do remember a few times when you guys were talking to the Prince of the Remnants of Herald. When you've been through your travels, there have been a one other term that has come up every once in a while: Primoria. And to your understanding, Primoria is what? Now, you don't know what Primoria is, only that as far as, like, you wouldn't know that it's a plane. You would just know it as, people call it Gratiel, and as far as you're concerned, that might be just another name for Gratiel. But that is another name you have heard, Primoria.
We all at once look each other in the eyes as we realize this, and just say the name at once. All together.
Gosh.
But given that, I
Here's
mean,
my
some of
number.
you would be like Primoria. Other people are like, oh, well, it's probably this. Probably Gratiel.
I mean,
Well,
Rococo
that's
would
each other.
actually say Primoria did come up. Do you know about Zedegal?
Oh.
Hmm.
Oh, that's a good chance. High or low good for you?
You always roll high.
Baby
The
high.
Church of High. The Church of High.
It's back.
All right. Well,
Oh,
unfortunately, the Cult of Low was successful here, which means you did not.
Yeah.
my cult of low.
Consequence of Low. Sorry, I got to ask the question again. My brain is tired. Say it one more time.
if they knew
Instead-
Zitagal.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
if they've
Zedegal,
heard
that's right.
Zedegal.
That's right. She looked thoughtful for a moment, thinking deeply about that. And Brahm, you've not heard of Zedigal, I can tell you that much. But she looks askance at Rococo when she said Primoria. And that is a name that you do know, Brahm, because it is the name of the prime material plane called Primoria that has been sealed away for over 100 years. Nobody has ever come from there. Now, to her response would be interesting. So you are from Primoria. And if you would like to roll an insight, you can. Whether it is to her feelings about that particular response.
Everybody or?
Anybody, yeah. You guys are all listening, so anybody can do it.
Yeah.
Woo.
Well, shit, Rilame knows. Sage does too. Nat 20, that means...
Yeah.
Nat 20 means that you do... Remember the rule, the custom rule, you do get a Benny for that.
Hey.
Keep rolling 20s.
I figure I may as well roll as well. Give me just a moment here.
I mean, through bennies.
You
First
can, you know her, so
campaign.
you can roll with advantage because you've been with her long enough to be able to read her.
Oh, I could. Me?
Specifically, Brahm.
I'm too
This is talking
distracted
to.
looking at Zirin and Braum.
Advantage, you said?
Yes, with advantage. You can roll insight with advantage.
I make a new shipping journal.
Oh dear God.
Um,
Okay,
God for
so
advantage.
yes. So in that case, actually no, you would have yes. You actually rolled an 18 either way. It was the second roll that got the 1, but so anybody above a 16 would have been enough. That means that Brahm, which makes a lot of sense, Brahm, Sage, and Rilame are all able to tell she does not believe you. It's not even. It's whatever it is about that she's not giving much away, but it is very clear to you that it's like you saying, "Hey, yeah, I got to hang out with Bigfoot the other day." It's just not believable. She takes it with a grain of salt.
comfortable are we telling her everything? I look at everybody.
Considering that
I know.
they saved our
it's-
lives.
It's okay.
What was you gonna say?
Please go
Jen?
ahead.
No, I know it might be hard to believe because if I'm putting the picture together right, we couldn't. Where we're from was sort of sealed away. Like that's something we're aware of, right? Like from our side, we were sealed, basically.
Yes, you know that there was a pact made with the. You never could figure out for sure if Siratoth was a god or not, but there was a being that your families made pacts with, and one of those pacts was to seal shut all of the gates, so that there would be no travel to or from Primoria or Gratiel.
Okay. I know you don't believe us, but and I don't know that our world was sealed from all of this, I assume. But something that we did, I think, broke open that gate, and that's why we're here. I can roll
Your
persuasion.
persuasion. Roll your persuasion for me.
I'm good at that, unless I roll a 1. Or I can roll a 2, even better. Fine, I'll go ahead and use a Benny this time.
Go ahead. If you would like to spend, it's fine. I'll get you to it. It's fine.
That's better.
10 is fine. Yeah. Let me just double check something. Okay. So, let's see if she wants to believe you. Now, when it comes to you, Brahm, you know that, that's up to you how you would like to feel, but that is literally what it's like. It's like they're saying, yeah, I was, I'm Bigfoot's best friend and we were hanging out the other night. Like, Pixar didn't happen, bro. It's just something that doesn't make much sense. Primoria has been locked away for a very long time. And longer than you've been alive for sure. And you know that the captain is over, she's a couple of 100 years old. She's considered back in her 30s for her species. So she's lived long enough to have gone through the cessation, which is what it's called. That's what the event was called, the cessation. So, and which maybe whatever you think about that. Would you like to say something before the captain continues?
Not in particular. He's just gonna pay attention to what the captain says and thinks.
Okay. And she's going to say, okay. Well, for the sake of argument, I know you believe that. But yet understand that you don't want to say that to anybody else. 100 years ago was what we call the cessation, when the gates to Primoria were shut, and the vast majority of primals died due to the lack of followers and the connection to those to Primoria. We have not had anyone come from there. Even the primaries have fallen more silent than usual. We only ever hear from them since then through their apostles. The 9 are the only guiding force we have. The 9 are even for them, they cling to life only because of who remains on this side of those gates. If what you say is true, it changes things. But I would urge you, talk amongst yourselves, but do not spread this word about outside of myself, Brahm here, and Ariad. I do not need I trust my crew. But even the best crew, the most loyal crew, can sometimes whisper things in the halls of drink that they wouldn't otherwise do. Now with that,
do
you have any questions for me?
Have you heard of the name Siratoth?
Yes. Siratoth is... That's a loaded question. It's not a name that most people know. You're lucky I'm old as I am. Siratoth is best described as the god of secrets, the keeper of forbidden knowledge and lost knowledge. It has a propensity for gambling. He's known to play tricks and make bonds, though his hexen has not been seen for quite some time.
See, and we know that our families made the pact with Siratoth, right?
Correct. You do know that the term hexen is also something you've learned. Hexen are metaphysical beasts, creatures that represent a personification of an ideal, a concept. So you know of a couple, but you haven't met any of them.
Yeah. There's a feeling inside Rococo that wants to add credence to what we're saying by bringing up that our families made a pact with Siratoth for the whole secession to happen. But then the fact that she hasn't, she doesn't have her power, she hasn't been cut. Yes, this person seems cordial in every sense of the word, but because she relied on that power so much, she doesn't know if she should continue speaking, so she keeps it to herself.
Okay. If you need time to think before you come ask questions, there's no time limit here. Travel to the deep ethereal requires focus, and my seer is ensuring to that. All I ask is you do 2 things while working, 2 safety considerations. Do not go outside of the ship. The deep ethereal does not have air as you understand it. It is something that without practice, you will suffocate. And if anything does attempt to land on the ship or come within reaching distance, do not touch it. If what you say is true, I have no idea exactly what would happen if you did. For now, Brahm and I will leave you to it.
And to answer something you said, I think Cerato's Hexen was missing because he was stuck on Primoria.
Let me roll something here.
For what it's worth.
What was his name? Do you know?
I assume he shared his name, right, Matt?
Oh yeah. He was proud of the name.
Kazuhiko Shizuka, yeah.
That would make a lot of sense. Yes. That's the Hexen. You have much to think. I have much to think about. Brahm, if you do me a favor, please ensure that they have what they need. I will see to our seer, and I'll speak with Ariad as well. But in the meantime, if anybody would like to do anything in the next 24 hours, start early on your tasks. Brahm will give you those tasks. Outside of that, we'll make port here in 2 days. And with that, we will take our break. We'll see everybody back in 15 minutes.
Alrighty.
Okie dokie.
All
Pray
right.
for story crossovers.
While we're at it, afterwards I'll go up to Brahm and I randomly ask him, "Are you Brahm the 4th or the 5th?"
Okay, I didn't actually.
Knowledge.
I honestly didn't even tell Oro about how funny that name pick was. To explain, Oro, there was a game I ran that I had a random generator for a encounter that a person.
Still
I
wish
met.
we could go back to that game.
Yeah, he was a sheriff or investigator, named Brahm.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Brahm the second, because his senior, the one before him, was also named Brahm. And at some point, one of my other games, they met Brahm the third. So when you were like, "I'm going to pick,"
I think
Brahm,
it was later
I'm
during
not...
that same game.
Yeah, yes, and that's why I said I was like, you know what? It's cool. I won't tell you because I want to see the others remember. But yes, you are Brahm now, the 4th.
Oh my god.
Damn it.
That is beautiful. And the fact that you wanted to be an investigator, I was like, I'm not saying anything. This is too beautiful.
Oh wait, he's an investigator? Oh
Yes,
no,
he is.
this is sticky now. just out of randomness, like I have
To be
a weird
fair-
sensation to ask you: Are you Brahm the 4th or the 5th?
To be fair, this is a Spelljammer ship.
It is a type of
Brahm-
spelljammer, yes.
Brahm could have come from that other plane of existence. Oro, if you
Well-
don't at some point mention your father Brahm, I think this party's gonna lose their minds.
All right, friends. So I will say, from this point, I will mark this in our recording, given the length of time. It is 2 hours and 28 minutes. I will pause the recording, and so that way, if you actually, I'll keep the recording going in case we have conversation. However, if you are watching this later, feel free to skip ahead 15 minutes. So, all right, guys, I will be back.
Talk to you all soon.
Well,
Okay.
Rubbing air, but like where your ears will be, like that's where I'm like, I have to get on camera just like to show this. It's like rubbing nothing, but like indicating
what you
that he
meant.
wants to rub your ears.
I'm
What was
fine,
that?
thanks.
God, is
That makes-
Artan sexually harassing your ears already?
R10, oh, you're about to make it a mission now. I want to rub your ears. They look so fluffy and soft.
Is
Just for-
Artan already sexually assaulting your ears?
I am not.
Don't lewd the bunny girl.
not sexually ADHD-ly.
I mean,
No.
then there's the whole conversation the Sage bot had.
Wait, what?
I don't think he's there to hear.
Oh no. Oh, no.
It wasn't anything inappropriate per se, but the Sage bot started talking about how bunnies were his favorite animal.
Yes, yes, it did.
I remember someone was able to convince the fucking AI that he was a warlock. I was like,
Yes, there
that's
was a
not
lot
good.
of weird ones. I'm gonna pause the audio
You
real
are
quick.
not.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We're gonna go ahead and pick back up after our break here. So we left off with you guys spending effectively the next 2 days, kind of keeping to yourselves, doing what you want to do. Now you are. I will ask: is anybody going to ask to do a job or a chore early, or are you also going to wait? Are you going to wait until that 24 hours? In which case they will assign you a duty.
If there's any kind of lookout position where Sage can just gaze off all directions, like, from a crow's nest or something, he'd probably be interested.
Yes,
Um,
there is.
Right
Perfect.
after everyone had left, Brahm was, or I would, Zirin goes straight to Brahm. It's just put me where you need me. He just wants to be busy. Like immediately, he's just ready to pick up and go.
I'll ask as well.
Rilla would have putzed around for a while, but she would have gotten too restless to not do anything.
Rococo, everything that basically the captain said was interesting to her because when we were on the home plane, we were cut off from the primaries until like the pact broke. But it also implies that if we're, because I know that the Watcher is Myrias and we're going to see an apostle of Myrias, it implies that her, reach extends beyond that. And now we're no longer in a place where there is severance from the gods. So I think the first day, Rococo is going to try and commune to see if she can get, like, at least the basic understanding of the clergy powers back or something along those lines. Like, try to tune back to Myrias, see if I can, if she can get something better. The staff may be broken, but that doesn't mean the connection's broken, it seems like, now that she's been given this information.
So, when you do so, you don't get a direct speech, not as you usually experience them in visions or things like that, but you do get the sensation that she's definitely paying attention. But you see, it is definitely a stronger presence than you've ever felt. But one thing is that she seems to be more communicating with you with emotions right now, and as far as why that is, that's not really explained. There is a bit of apology that she is not exactly seems to be happy with the fact that she can't speak with you, but she does. There is an impression of longing, of desire, and a pull towards something, and there in this something feels like the impression given is more like a piece of the puzzle, and the way you can interpret that, if you would like, is she wants you to come follow the route, and that will lead to the next step, and that is where she could potentially speak with you more. At least that's the impression you could take from that.
Mm-hmm.
That something is, it could, without knowing more about the world you find yourself in now, something is stopping her from being able to speak to you as directly as she did before. But with that, there is definitely that same feeling of support. It's not in the way of a clergy, but it's somebody who is supportive of you.
Okay. So she's still doing the mom thing, which I appreciate. All right. So given that actually does relieve Rococo of a lot. After she has that meditation, she goes, "Do you have a kitchen?"
Of course. Brahm, if you would, being asked if there's a kitchen, there is one. It is ran by, the best way to explain it is it's a halfling, but with the legs and tail of a squirrel.
Interesting.
You know her name. Her name is Jen. Not the way I was looking for. Genevieve. Sorry, I always want to shorthand that to Jen immediately. It's Genevieve. But she doesn't talk. She literally can only chitter like a squirrel. You can understand her, but it's not a language they're gonna understand. But she's the type who it will teach anybody to cook because she's sick and fucking tired of everybody being picky and not being willing to help.
All right. Brom will beckon for them to come along, and he'll say, "All right, I'll show you to the cook. Did you have plans to help out, or were you just looking for a fixing?"
No, that's my intent. You see, I'm somewhat of a cook myself.
Well, that's great news.
Yes, if I had it on me, I could show you, but unfortunately, it seems I've lost my belongings. I had quite skilled at butchery. She opens her eyes, and you see that they're yellow and snake-like, and she just has, like, one of those creepy smiles, like, I really enjoy butchering. And then she just goes, but, I can do other things, too, like, closes her eyes and, like mashed potatoes. I do that very well. No, funny story. On Primoria, there was, we found a farm, and on that farm there were these potatoes, but they were green and they could bleed. It was questionable whether or not they were living things, but every time we smashed them, they would squirt this green juice, and we ate them, and they were pretty good. And I learned how to make potatoes out of them. It was mashed potato. It was great.
That's about as normal of the conversation you would expect from average day. Like, that's just what the fuck.
I see. Well, I assure you we don't have those sorts of potatoes here, but certainly we can find something interesting for you to cook.
Good.
You missed the detail that they float.
Yes, they also floated. Speaking of, do you cook, Brom?
I can't say that I'm particularly adept at it, but I can cook a steak.
Oh well, that's better than nothing. Is there a Mrs. Brom at home? It gives you like an elbow in your side a little bit.
No, I can't say that there is.
Oh. Well, here's hoping our journey, you may find someone special, huh? Gives you a wink. You're not sure if she's coming on to you. I mean, you did see the thing with that clown boy earlier. There's some mixed signals here. Is she just naturally like this or what? And she just goes, okay, well, let's get cooking.
Sage falls from the crow's nest.
Starts crawls on all fours, kicks down the kitchen door. What's going on in here?
I smell the bullshittery.
Oh my god,
Betrayal.
Did you fucking catch where we both said I smell and then I stopped because you were going?
Yes.
Fucking Sname brain.
So, I will say, I will have everybody do me a favor. I am going to have everybody roll a skill check here. It's going to be based off just your stat. You don't have to worry about the skill. It's just the stat. Okay. So, Rilame, you are going to be given the duty of tying down the different sail ropes. They're going to try. They're actually, if you're willing to learn, they're going to show you how to effectively be a damn good ship crewmate. To show you how to handle it, and they are, depending on what you roll here, they're going to have reactions for you. So if you go ahead and roll a dexterity check, and we'll see how that turns out.
I'm rolling great today.
You like to re-roll that? It's up to you. There's no failure. It's just how well you succeeded.
Sure, why not? I'll use my last penny.
Okay.
If it'll let me. There you go.
Oh,
Much
There we
better.
go. Much better.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
So you find that they are a little odd at. They're like, hey, yeah, go over here, do this, and you're just like, what? And you just like the fucking tightrope your ass, just walk across to that, no issue whatsoever, no balance issues, and they're like, so
I'm a dancer.
what
do you expect?
Yeah, so you are like if you would like to show off and like do like little like cartwheels, things like that across, you could. You're like at home. Despite the weird nature, the ship does seem to move very similarly to a ship on water, which
How
you've
about
been on
how about a
before.
25 performance?
Perfect. So yes, so in they are. You will find a few people who are like will be like, yes, the bunny girl, and they're gonna start calling you bunny girl.
Although I think it just occurred to me that I think I have expertise on there when that's not. I don't get that to like level 3 or something.
That's fine. It's fine for right now. But you are doing amazing. So you'll be fine for the next 2 days as you go through this. When it comes to Zirin is going to be, for the most part, is going to be somebody who is taught how to. They're gonna take your physical appearance in mind. They're going to show you how best to handle the ores. The ores here are different. They are not necessarily based on strength, because strength doesn't matter nearly as much as the actual grace in which you move, the methods in which you move. So they're going to show you this. This will be a dexterity check as well. Feel free to roll that dexterity check. Nice. That's an also success. You are an expert at this. For some reason, it's perhaps differently, because you remember when strength was everything and your dexterity not so well. You were always about the brute force, not the fine details, and yet you find it coming naturally to you. Perhaps something more has changed than just your loss of abs and muscles. Something else seems to have changed in the way that you move. So yeah, you are great at it. You take off pretty easily. In fact, that is going to act with your assistance. They are actually going to reduce the amount of time that it takes to get to Oranos.
Oh, okay.
So we're gonna go next to Sage. Sage, given your nature, how you portray yourself, and the fact that you have this kind of air of fun to it, though it is obviously in the grim times here. They are going to ask you to actually tell them a few tales, made up stories, if you will. And the captain will emphasize, or actually Ariad would actually emphasize, that it needs to sound extreme, but also don't tell them it's true, if you are going to use any honesty there. In this case, you can choose to either use charisma or intelligence for this role.
Charisma or intelligence? Well, given I'm a fighter, fuck me.
Hey, I've seen your stats. You're fine across the board.
I got a +2 on charisma.
It's better than
No chance I
-1.
could draw through, since it doesn't need to be told if it's imaginary or real. Could I draw inspiration from some of our fights, possibly?
Sure, that would be fine.
I'll just roll it.
Oh, you rolled well.
Oh yeah. That is actually just as much a success as 20. So you awe them with the stories of the great deeds, the fights that you've had. They especially like the story in which in which a spindly little man with a smile on his face beat the living hell out of a bear who decided to attack them.
Damn it.
So you tell a wonderful series of stories, and you find in a moment that this has leavened some spirits up. People, they obviously were a fun crew to begin with, but they definitely seems to be accepting you almost like already, like as if they've always known you. You seem to slip right in.
Hell yeah. We always like new friends.
Artan, this is definitely new from you. Given your height, you definitely have a little bit of assistance. They are going to have you swab the deck, specifically because you can reach places that most of them can't. That is going to be either a dex or a strength check, whichever one you would prefer in this situation.
Let's do a strength check.
I imagine the guy in like Undertale, the slime guy. Everything he mops, he just sweats more another puddle, and he has to mop that puddle. Then he sweats another puddle, and he has to clean that puddle.
If he rolled low enough, that's what I was gonna have happen. But guys, do you want to? Would you like to roll higher to try with a Benny, or if you just accept it? Again, there's no failure here.
Yeah, we're getting close. I'll use a Benny.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't know how to. You say one or two bennies, or just one?
One. You have 2 bennies, so you can use one.
One. Okay. I got what I. There we go.
He's gonna get a 20 now.
No. Fuck.
I tried to speak it into existence. I'm sorry.
Benny. Benny.
You can use one more Benny. Go ahead.
Pull from the
There we go.
fist bump that Zirin gave you earlier.
Fist bump. And I would like to do a perception check to make sure I got everything.
You'll be fine. That you will hit everything. It will be spotless. You are in fact, it is fairly simple. You have a pretty easy situation here. For the most part, you are really just kind of enjoying yourself, losing yourself in the work, not really thinking about much in the moment. It is not just simple work. It is complicated. It is something that every time someone like you're cleaning a place, you're like, oh yeah, this is great. Someone steps on it, you're like, motherfucker, and then you start cleaning that too. Eventually, you kind of figure out where people are going, and you're able to kind of work your way around to the kind of structure, to kind of cleaning you're hoping for.
Okay, they better not step where I cleaned that.
No. So I will do this image. Sorry, I am trying to grab an image up for you guys to get ready for this. So the last one would be Rococo. Now, Rococo, you have several options, but the job that they eventually put you to is the cooking, because that's where you focus, and that is where the halfling creature has decided you're not leaving because they really need the help. So if in this case you can use intelligence, wisdom. No, you have to use a stat. It's an attribute roll here, just an attribute check. So
All right, then I guess I'll just use wisdom.
All right, use wisdom. It goes.
My inherent natural ability to cook.
God, some inherent natural ability.
So the problem in the beginning of the start of the kitchen, I don't understand a single word she's saying, and I'm trying to be her sous chef, but I have no idea what she's saying. And I go, Brom, can you translate for me as I spend a Benny?
Go for it.
I love Brom makes shit worse.
Brom, I don't think you're translating properly.
One more time, Megan. One more roll.
All right, there we go.
Apparently he got through, finally.
Oh, so chip means she wants the meat rack, not the fish rack. Okay.
Oh my God. Fucking Rococo's gonna walk out of the fucking kitchen at the end of like day 2, talking like Crunk. Squeak,
And then,
squeaking.
That's
Squeak. So I do want to say, while I am cooking, once like we start vibing together, me and the halfling squirrel, I do start like trying to compliment her in her language, saying that she's doing a good job and she's appreciated. You know, people don't appreciate the cooks, you know, in the food service industry. And then on top of that, she's going to, if possible, make a like, you know how like wives make like a bento box for their husbands. She's going to make a special meal for Sage that's a little bit more colorful than the rest.
Okay. I'll give it to you. She seems, as much as you can tell, she seems to be flattered. And with your words, she does tell Brom, you know, maybe a time or two he can try being a gentleman, like this. Like this he is. because apparently at least she knows how to compliment people. But she's just giving you some rash of shit, which she always does. So she gives a shit to everybody, but she does not give shit to Rococo. Nothing but good things about her. And Sage, you
What
get
can I roll?
a
I'm cooking.
to do cooking. It would
Yes.
be intelligence or wisdom, whichever higher for you.
Definitely intelligence. Let's go. All right. Let's see how atrocious this goes.
Hey,
You know,
19.
not
Nice.
bad. Not bad.
Yeah.
Everyone's
damn.
vibing in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Okay.
Actually,
So he's made a nice steak meal with some mashed potatoes and grilled vegetables.
you
You
know,
found all that
on a
in
ship,
space? Damn.
on a ship in the middle of space.
Space
yeah, the
whale
space
steak.
cows. You got there's space cows. Don't
Space
worry.
Space
cattle.
cows.
I can imagine they just pull from the ether and be like, here's a mushroom. Chop it up. There you go.
Jesus.
But yeah, no, yeah. You have always been good with the meat, so she trusts you with it. But if you touch the vegetables, she'll smack your hand because that's where Coco's good. So that includes potatoes, like that's her. So, but
You
yeah,
like
so
what
it's good.
I was just gonna make a small comment. I feel like these rolls mean our bento boxes are gonna have like stardust with sprinkles on them or something.
It might.
Fucking wild kitchen rolls today.
Fucking glitter. You open it up and it's just like a light show in your face.
Yeah, you have
Confetti.
Sage, you have those little weenies that kind of look phallic, but then when you turn them around, you see they're like little octopuses with like little eyes poked into them, so they're like the weenie octopuses.
Oh, those are great.
Hell yeah.
All
I'll
right.
just take some bread and butter. Thank you.
Base butter, you
Oh.
mean?
Space butter.
Space
Space butter from the
Space
space
butter.
cows.
Exotic
Zirin,
butters.
the type of man to put butter in his water because all you need is bread and butter.
Makes it taste like a cosmic brownie.
Exotic butters. Yep. God, thank you, Jen. That's gonna be in my head for tonight,
God.
including the dubstep version of it.
That
All
reminds
right.
me of the cosmic brownie shake.
Yeah.
God,
It tastes
no.
amazing, but God, it will put you on the toilet.
I mean, I don't think anything will put you on the toilet more than when Sonic did the chicken tender shake.
Oh fuck!
God.
What? No,
I
no,
was
that's
gonna say
that's. Mm-mm. That's a felony.
That's too far.
Sounds good.
I'm googling it right now.
That's felonious behavior. We're moving on. God.
Criminal
I don't know,
behavior.
It's gonna be nightmares. So, all right. So 2 days pass. You guys have had the opportunity. They said, as they promised, every time you go to sleep, they leave you alone. They don't really worry much. They keep to themselves. You guys have quickly made friends, though. A lot of the people here, while they do respect you, they enjoy your presence. They do invite you on the first night to, given the fact that you guys already immediately started working, they do invite you up to a game of cards, which they unfortunately have to teach you how to play cards because their deck of cards has 6 suits, and you have no idea what the hell that's supposed to be. Brom, the fact is that it's not. They're fucking with them. It's a haze. It's all it is. Because this is literally like the same 4 suits that they use is the one that you use. They just threw 2 in there. Like you were completely made up. It's just a hazing incident. It's the same thing they did to you.
How many people are playing the card game? Who all is involved?
Literally every person except for the captain and Ariad and Brom if he doesn't want to.
Okay. Can I roll insight to see if like the rules that they're telling us seem coherent?
You would have to roll disadvantage because this is alien territory for you, but I will let you try.
Yeah, but games also do kind of have typically cohesion. You know what I mean? So that's the only reason I want to roll in the first place. So I'll take advantage.
I feel like if we're staring at the decks, we see the first 4 suits as normal, then we see the other 2. I'm like, one of us is going to be like, hold on a second.
Just as a heads up, my wireless earbuds are running out of battery. It would be like 5 minutes for me to run up and grab my headset. which has
Okay.
a 400-hour battery life or something insane. So I'll be
That's
right
fine.
back.
No way, that was
You
my
believe-
roll.
You believe every word of it. From the rest of here on out, you always think that whatever we played is a real game.
Check the other roll though, too, is the worst part.
I know. So
Oh,
perfect.
Oh,
yeah.
of course.
How does that? Can I use a Benny to re-roll with disadvantage?
It takes-
Is that something I can do?
It takes 2 bennies to re-roll a 1, and it's the same roll, so it'd still be disadvantage. It would be you spend 2 bennies to re-roll a 1.
Fuck. I think I'm gonna do it.
All right.
Do it.
Okay, here we go. I've set my bennies down, and sorry, what was that? It was insight, yeah. Pray for me, because I really want something to happen. But you know, if we fail, we fail.
Rococo's actually looking at the table to see what
Uh.
currency is being like wagered, like if their gold is still useful in these like universes.
So there are some coins that they are using, but they are not coins you recognize. It is one specific coin. Let me grab the description of it up. Okay, so you see they are simple flat pieces of a silver green material, shaped into a square with a slight curve inwards at the top and bottom. You do note. Let me see here. You do see a sphere with 2 rings around it, perpendicular to one another, on one side, and the other side has 9 stars that are arranged in an arch. They call them chips. That's all you have been able to find out so far. The only thing I would say is that Artan, this green tint is very similar to the tint that green tint that's on your sister's blade. The difference here is that this is silver, and that in the one your sister's blade is gold. But it's a very distinct shade of green. But that's what they're using. In fact, they're just wagering on each other. They don't expect you guys to pay. But if you do pull out gold, they'll be like, "What the fuck is that?" Like they have no idea what that is. They sorry, we play for chips, and then they won't. They'll give you guys some to play, but that's about it. Like they don't expect. They're doing this for fun, not to rob you blind. Also, Braum might smack them, so Ariad would.
May I make one more roll of something else?
What are you trying to do?
Can I roll sleight of hand to make 1 card disappear per round? Not in the sense of giving myself an advantage, just making 1 card disappear from the deck every round we play. Until someone notices.
Go ahead and roll it. And I'll have Braum roll. Well, he's not here, so I can't have him roll. But
well, we can save the outcome for later.
You are not rolling good today.
1 more Benny?
You only have 2 bennies.
No, he got one earlier for rolling a 20.
Remember?
Oh, that's right. That's right. You do. So
Oh
you
my
guess you
God.
can.
I feel like I got cheated too. I would have got another Benny had that one not been at a disadvantage. Oh, I just realized that.
Yeah, and then that one gives me a Benny.
I'm gonna cry. Okay. Here we go.
There we go.
That's
All right.
much better.
It will be halfway through the game before they realize.
We can wait for Oro to get back to discuss like the end if you want.
We need to move on because I don't want to take it too much. But they are good natured about it. They will dump water on you.
Heck yeah. Wait, where'd
Like
you
the
guys
whole
get water?
the Gatorade bucket just.
This is a waste of resources, guys.
One of the guys is like, "I'm literally a water genasi, bro."
Ew.
Wait,
People
so
like
is this-
that.
You're fine.
His name's R. Kelly. I'm convinced. Alright, I'm
That's
done being silly.
K-Alley.
I'm sorry. K-Alley.
I'll ask him. Do you know what? I'll pull out my sister's blade and show it to them. Asking, your coin looks exactly like. Oh shit. Looks exactly like part of her blade. Do you know where this is made from?
High or low good for you?
Hi.
No, nobody
That
here.
is the opposite way.
Yeah. Unfortunately, They don't recognize it, but they do mention that that the coins, the chips specifically, are made from a material called electrum. And that is, I mean, if it's they've never seen a gold version of that, but they said you'd have to speak to a metallurgist to know more.
Okay. And a final question. Out of curiosity, does this blade look reforgeable to you?
No. No, it looks like that the metal would have to be completely melted down for it to be reforged. Like you could probably save the handle, though you'd have to replace the gemstone too.
Okay. I'm good.
So,
Thank you.
Yeah. In fact, if that's something you would like to do, one of the fire ganassi here will melt down the blade for you. They actually know enough to take apart the blade, and so that you'd be able to just have the pommel, but the blade is useless at this point.
Please, yes, because I'm not trying to.
Anyway, so.
Okay, I'm not trying to carry around a broken blade I can't use. Sentimental value.
Yeah, I mean he'll give you the pommel completely fine. It's just the hilt is completely fine. And the crossguard is fine. It's just the blade itself that's not reforgeable.
What?
I'll when they do it, put my hand across my chest and bow halfway and say thank you so much. This means a lot.
Yeah. His only response as he goes away is, "Don't ask me how I'm melting it," and then just walks away. And you hear a couple sniggers from people around you.
Wait, what?
Don't ask.
The fire genasi is the forge.
Just like sticks it in his stomach, you know?
You're lucky if it's the stomach.
Just doing sword mouth, putting it in the mouth, and
Yeah, whatever makes you feel good at night. But whatever lets you sleep at night. But all right. So, Oro, are you back?
Yes, I am.
Perfect. Okay. So for the most part, I mean, the time goes fine, but it is the second day, and it's weird because there is no real day or night here. I mean, other than you just get tired and go to sleep, but there isn't really. There's always constantly light. There's constantly things to see. There is something you do see at one point, and it is off in the distance, and it is the only time you've seen the ship actually change course a little bit. To avoid it. And that is, you guys see this.
Ooh.
Ew!
oh wow.
I would avoid that too.
It is in the distance. And Brahm, you know this as a void leviathan. And these things, if they're, depending on how old it is, it could swallow a moon. And given that it's as big as it is from that distance, you can, you guys, it will chase you down if it really does, if it's hungry. And that's, the whole time you're just like, don't be hungry, don't be hungry, don't be hungry. Because that is, that's an immediate evacuate as fast as you fucking can to another plane.
I'm gonna fight it.
I won't fight.
Gonna fight it.
Damn.
Nah,
Void
but
Leviathan got hands.
Yeah, no.
He's gonna get these hands today.
They are known to feed on cosmic energy, and they actually feed on potential energy, the creative forces that actually make up this plane. They are very dangerous and are considered one of the most dangerous predators in the deep ethereal.
Imagine taming it.
You would be less than a speck on its flesh.
I'm gonna fight it.
It's so hard.
Ah.
That's completely real and word. Yeah, I hit it.
But
Something hit it.
All right, but what happens if I roll a nat 20 with my Vorpal sword?
be careful, the sword might actually hurt you instead. It's like, nope. Too afraid to hit that shit. What?
What will win a Tarrasque or this?
All right.
This.
So. Let's
Oh
go
my god,
ahead.
sorry to interrupt when you wanted to move on here, but like, imagine the Void Leviathan like eating Tarrasques as a breakfast cereal.
Basically.
God.
Yes. It's like cornflakes, man. It's just like, here we go.
Crunchy.
Oh god.
PR 78.
Very dangerous creatures, but you guys. But yes, it is. It is also one of the most beautiful things. It is so many different colors, different facets, colors that you don't even have names for. But it seems to radiate in a way that gives almost like a glimpse of eternity. It is definitely something beyond description or definition. Though, if you would like, if you think your character would try and perform poetry for it, I do have a check for that if you would like to. See how good you can do. That is your call.
Poetry.
If you like to, try your hand at describing it in the poetic sense. If that's something you think your character can do.
Are you?
You'd roll performance for that, though. But
You know what? I'll try.
Is Sage gonna try too? Gonna have a fucking.
Can I? I thought you were just offering it to him. I would love to try.
No, anybody can. Anybody can. If you guys would like to try, you are welcome to do it. You need to roll a performance. And you will not be able to re-roll this one because it's not around long enough.
How did we both roll an 8?
Is anybody else gonna try and be poetic here?
Fire.
You know
What's
what?
the stat for it?
Fuck it. Why not?
Or roll a
Performance.
Well, it should only be a 21, but still.
Fucking
I'd like
gosh.
to point out those rolls that we did. Those weren't 8s; they were infinity signs because we were talking about how the Void Leviathan stretches on to infinity, and so does its beauty.
Actually, no.
It looks
23.
It looks long, like really long, as it ends in a majestic longness. That's all you're getting.
Void Leviathan, long like penis.
And yet we already started we already started the part of the D&D game where things become phallic. But
that happened a while ago.
Oh yeah, that's fair. But all right, so obviously Rilame is the epitome here. Braum is apparently has a deep soul for his poetry. Apparently, he has the ability to describe. Maybe it's just. Go ahead.
Oh no, you're good. I'm good.
Zirin does a passing job. Sage and Artan more get lost in trying to one up each other more than they do actually describing what's happening.
Beautiful. No, it's long. No, it's longest.
But with that,
Longiathan.
Oh, that's actually good.
I'm making a new shipping journal, and I have Braum and Zirin staring longingly at the dragon.
Oh no!
Longingly, holy shit!
Dude, every time I look at it, the Void Leviathan, it just reminds me of Aurelian Soul from League.
God damn.
Oh yeah.
Nothing like a cosmic entity dragon to bring yourself back to reality before he just rips it apart anyway.
Yeah, exactly. No, you got it. All right, so let's try this. All right, as you guys are gaining towards what likely is the ending point, as you are told, you see that all the crew get together and they start moving faster, moving quicker, to try and get the ship ready. You see the captain. So we're going to go back up to the 3rd floor. You guys see that everybody is getting ready for whatever's coming. They haven't really told you for sure what they're doing, other than that they are looking, that they are going to open a fractal. You do see one person come up from the deck, and you're not entirely sure where this person was the entire time, but this person is bald. They are about 5.5 feet tall. And when they pull back their sand-colored hood, you see that their skin is completely black, almost obsidian, but it looks fleshy in nature. However, their head is slightly pointed towards the end, almost like an eggish shape for their head, and their eyes are pale with no sclera, no pupils. It's just a pale white, almost alabaster in color. Which, if anybody asks anybody, would tell you that is Noen, our seer. Noen is going to move towards the front of the ship, where she begins to hold her hands forward and begin to chant. All right. An implosion in the sky. Huh?
Is there a token we're supposed to see, or?
No, I don't have one
Oh,
for her.
okay.
So I'm just explaining what you guys see at this moment. An implosion in the sky precedes the appearance of a swirling vortex of light and sound. A vortex that pulls in the elemental forces around it in a dazzling, unforgettable display. The squall moves forward as gracefully as a leaf in a pond, the ship's crew all beaming with joy, the light of the portal reflected in their gaze. Within moments, the elemental tendrils of light reach out from the gateway, embracing the ship as gently as a lover as it draws you first in, then through the entrance. One moment. A bright light falls upon you, bathing you in different, though familiar, warmth. While the light above resembles your sun in Primoria, the landscape it smiles upon is truly alien. A city lay before you, and to the side of you, and even above you. The world in which you find yourself lay around you as a sphere, with no empty space or sky as you know it to be found. Every building you see can be called artistic, if not majestic, for everything looks to be made of glass, crystal, gemstone, or even metal, while all around various crystals reach up from the ground towards the light at the center, never quite touching it. One section only fails to sparkle, where a titanic metallic disc that slowly orbits the light in the center casts it into the darkness of night. A voice filled with awe speaks behind you. The first mate, Ariad. Welcome to Oranos, city of reflections, the middle of all creation. Now, with that, I'm actually going to call it here today as a good turning point.
What? No.
I think that's perfect. We got here. We'll get to disembark next session.
Yeah. Next session is a good place. I will tell you now, going to talk to to try and cut you guys off as you guys meet the apostle would be kind of rude. So
I can tell that's going to be a long conversation. Yeah.
Can I get one quick question? As the docking scene happened, it's more of like I look to the captain and says like I never really was kind of caught up in the moment of everything and the beautiful somberness of the stars. Who is the apostle?
The representative of the primaries. Their voices. Don't worry. You'll meet the apostle of the Watcher later today. Now I do want to clarify what you guys are seeing in case it doesn't make as much sense. You guys are in a Dyson sphere, the center of which is a glowing orb of light. Now it is so bright that even looking at it can be very difficult. There are natural clouds that move around the surface, very similar in nature to what you would experience on Earth. But everything with this city is everywhere. There are there are. Let me double check. I want to say 7. Yes, 7 spears of crystal, titanically large, that stick upwards towards the center. And it looks like they may be touching it, or at least close to touching the center. But all around them, you do see smaller crystals all over the place. And these are buildings, despite them looking like stone or everything. These are just dark because of dirt or because of age. But everything is some sort of glistening material. There are something. So again, the last part, there is a titanic steel plate, or at least some sort of metallic plate, that is constantly moving slowly around this orb, simulating night on different parts of the Dyson sphere itself. As is named, this is Oranos, the city of reflections. This is the one thing you will notice, and the reason I pull this image up, is that very much this is a Victorian era style. The things can be grim, things can be dark, but you do see all around you. You see all around you different types of technologies, things that are like and unalike your home. But we'll go further into this next session. But before we finish up,
I was gonna say, and I'm so sorry, but are we doing like what did your dad call that? The final acts of rebellion?
The last act of defiance.
Defiance.
Yes, you know what? Sure, let's do it. Last act of defiance. Everybody, as you guys are entering the sphere, as the fractal gate is just starting to close behind you. Let's go around the list. I'll start with Sage because he was the one who spoke last. So Meta, what's your last act of defiance?
At whatever point. I just want to know what everybody would like to do.
All right. Well, last on my list anyway. Now that's been rearranged again. I have Tao here. Tao, what is Rillamay's last act of defiance?
Oh, I wasn't expecting you to tell me that. I don't know.
Well, what's her feeling? What's her reaction as you see this grandiose and alien sight before you?
It's definitely a distraction from her dark thoughts. She's staring in awe at the city, not obviously having seen anything like it before. And honestly looking forward to it.
There are, yes, in case someone asks, yes, there are several lakes, and they above you specifically. So, given where you're entering from. So Zirin, you're next. What is your last act of defiance?
In all honesty, the only thing that makes the most sense is pretty much the same thing as Rillamay, just being in awe, like doesn't know how to comprehend what he's seeing at the moment. Like all he knows is that he went from the roughest moment of his life to all of a sudden now in a complete different plane of existence, seeing what makes no sense. He has no thought other than just what is and what if.
All right. That means we would put Oro, funny enough, Brahm is next. So last act of defiance is just really the last ending here. How you react, or one last thing, if you want to spit over the side, you want to throw something, whatever. It's just the last act. So how would you like to spend your last act of defiance here?
Before we approach the city?
Yep.
Yes, you just enter the gate. The gate's starting to close behind you. You see, right now anyway, you would see Rillamay and Zirin kind of staring in awe, which to you, this is home.
Yeah. Well, he'll feel... Sorry, hold on. Just need a little bit of water here. He'll feel a bit heartened that they're taking some sort of interest in his hometown, and he'll just take a little flask out of his coat pocket and have a quick swig.
Oh.
Sounds good. Rococo.
I think Sage is missing his power.
Yeah. What's Rococo's last act of defiance?
Rococo puts her hand on Sage's shoulder as they get to the bow of the ship and just does the hold me Jack from the Titanic.
Jesus.
So funny enough that you're next, Sage. So how is Sage handling the situation?
I don't want to ruin your plans, but
I was totally just gonna say, Sage was like walk towards the edge and look over, like try to take everything in and try to reach for Rococo's hand. But I suppose what could happen if Necro's cool with it is Sage can reach for Rococo's hand and Rococo could grab it and just drag him towards the front.
Yeah, we'll do that. So
okay, yeah,
so you grab her hand, and what's gonna happen is that she wants you to basically hold her up to like do the like flying thing, but then she's like, wait a minute, I'm a tiefling. She like picks you up in the air and then does the Titanic scene, but she's picking you up and holding you up into the sky.
Uppies.
Go higher.
Oh my god. You know what? For the first time today, The sage laughs.
Oh,
For the first time in forever.
But that leaves one last person, Artan. What is Artan's last act of defiance as Sage is being held like a fresh maiden before the sunrise? How would you like to handle?
Just seeing everybody in a more positive-ish attitude, he just looks in awe, getting so much inspiration to the point of tears before channeling that newfound energy into cleaning the whole damn ship again, to the point where the light glistens off of from the city onto that ship, and it just sparkles.
And then towards the end,
Alright.
since I'm clumsy and I only have 8 strength, I accidentally drop Sage on top of somebody at random.
Or over the edge. I mean, we're at the front of the ship.
Oh god, no! Fucking Titanic.
Oh shit, Sage!
oh my god! Now, imagine this. Some little kid having a birthday party. He's like, "Man, this would be so much better with a clown." Sage just lands like crumpled right in front of him, just smashes through the birthday cake.
You just traumatized a kid.
Roof,
Congrats.
Right into this person's house.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure that
Right
would be
into
concerned
the
if that was
table
his
with the birthday
reaction.
cake and the gifts and everything. He's got like 2 broken legs. He just raises like a crooked thumbs up.
Just twitches a bit.
Hey
If that were
kids,
to
you want to hear a joke?
Are we close enough to landing that Sage would live?
No.
I don't think so.
I was gonna beg.
No. Not yet.
My legs!
I haven't typed that out. I'm posting that there.
All right, so guys, so for those who have, obviously, I know a lot of our viewers have not had the opportunity to read our homebrew rules, but with this game is going to have a bit of a different kind of ending for us. For those of you who've noticed, we have a system called bennies. Bennies are short for benefits. They are taken from the Savage World game setting that allows you to kind of act as like inspiration on command. Generally speaking, players have 2. They start with every game. It always refills. You can get multiple throughout the game. I do give bennies for good behavior, good role play, in really interesting events choices that you make. Where it just really tickles my fancy here, but we also have it where nat 20s will always give you your character a benny. Nat 1s will give the DM a benny, which obviously you may understand is a bad thing. That can use it whenever. However, at the end of our games, we are going to give a couple options. So I'm going to go ahead and read out the rules here. At the end of every game, the players will vote on who they believe was the MVP for the game session. This should be the one who had the most pull or impact on the game's content. This should be in character, not out of character decisions and actions. The player will receive a character benny, which can be spent on any character at any time, even other players, though their character must in some way benefit or interact with the character to make it work. This can be carried between games and is not part of the 2 received at the beginning of every game. So, to help clarify that again, the intention is who had the most impact in character. So out of character conversations, obviously that's a whole different conversation. That's out of character. So my question is if you had to select a character who had the most pull, the most impact on the game's role play, we're going to go around and take votes and majority rules here. So everybody has to vote. No one's allowed to abstain. Though I will this case I won't ask people to explain their reasoning. You can give one if you want to, but for the future we will be kind of explaining our choices. The intention here is more to ensure that we are rewarding people for investing themselves, getting involved in the game. And it is fair to say that you can refuse to accept this gift. If you choose to do so, then you can pass it to somebody else of your own choice. You just have to explain why you are giving it to that person. Okay? So, I'll just go down. Again, in this case, you do not have to, just this game. But I'll start with Jen. Jen, who would you think is the MVP?
I think that's pretty obvious that it would be John.
Okay.
Oh.
So your votes for John here.
Yep.
Zirin or Flo, what do you think? Who is the MVP for this game?
I had two choices, but I know.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that.
I'm gonna say. Now, Sage runner up, because holy fuck, the entire scene between the two of you was heartfelt and heartbreak. I cried. It was such a heartfelt moment for me. If I could give it to both of you, I really would. But I'm gonna have to give it to Johnny because he really tied it together. He pulled it together so well for that part.
He was most of it, so yeah.
But that does go to Meta next. Who would you give the MVP vote to?
I mean, yeah, it's gonna be sweeping across the board. Necro definitely fucking carried today.
Because you've got most of the votes already, I'll wait for you to the end. But Oro, who would you say is the MVP for this game?
All right. Personally, I would abstain the vote as I had to leave multiple times. But yeah, I would say the bits between Sage and Rococo were fantastic.
No abstains. You gotta pick one though. You gotta pick one. It doesn't matter.
I have to pick one. I can't pick two.
Do Rococo.
Yep.
Do Sage.
I'm gonna do Sage.
You bastard! One of the minor rules I didn't mention was you can't tell someone what to vote. I didn't think someone would. All right. So that's one for Sage, and then Artan, who would you vote as MVP here?
I'm gonna have to say Sage on this one. I want to say both of them. I want to so much. I will go Sage.
Okay. That means that generally speaking, John would win, but John does have the option of picking somebody else if that for whatever reason, and you can also choose if it's.
I mean,
if
I
it's
don't
a
think you
tie,
gave
there's
him a
something
vote.
else. He is allowed to vote. I'm going to say that. I'm just saying is that generally speaking, there is a chance to vote. There is a rule I haven't written down for ties. So if you would like, who do you think would be the MVP?
Well, no, that's right. We have player growth after that one.
Yep.
So because I don't want to stroke myself off, I would also give it to Sage.
Watch.
Stop.
All right. So what I do in this case, because of a tie, I am going to drop my deck. And what I'm going to do
You
is
wanted this excuse.
I basically is one person picks either to be a high card or a low card, and whichever card I pull wins. So, in this case, because John was nice enough to give it to you, Meta, you can pick first, high or low card.
I'll go Cult of Low since Necro loves Church of High.
Also, if I win, I just want to preface this. If I win, I'm giving it to Sage. So.
Well, if I win, then I give it to you. So
you can't
the roll.
How dare you?
Get fucked. So now, if it's Cult of Low, it goes to Necro. All right.
King.
I appreciate this.
So, King
Goes
here does mean it goes to Sage in this case because Sage is John's gonna give it to you. So, yeah. Congratulations, you have won the character Benny. Make sure and write that down. But remember, Bennies normally can only be spent on yourself. So a character Benny can be spent on any other person. You just have to. It has to make sense on how you are somehow affecting that person. Okay. There's no time limit on it. There is a max of 3 that you can have at any one time. So just that's to help stop people from being it too many times. But that does lead us to the next one. So the next rule, the next part of this is, at the end of every game, the players will vote on who they believe developed the most in this game. Now, this could be either in or out of character, as long as they have improved themselves in some fashion. This will reflect them trying to improve themselves, meaning if someone normally stands out, this should be considered normal for them, not an improvement. This could be their character talking more often, the player helping out everybody around them, or providing more ideas to the party during the game. If selected, this player next game will start their character with inspiration. Unlike the 5e core mechanic, which the bennies serve to replace, inspiration in this game will give your character a +1 to every roll made for the entirety of the next session. Or -1 if it's to your benefit. Okay? So, in this case, I would ask that you guys explain why you picked 2 people. So, John, because you won last time, you get to start. Who would you think of the game, either in or out of character, did the most improvement in this game?
I want to pick Zirin because Flo is usually quiet, but I think this is the most I've ever heard from him in a session. So I really like that. I think new Zirin having to settle with the fact that he's not Big Muscle Man anymore is some good development.
Yeah, I've been taking a whole new approach to Zirin, so I'm going to do my best to actually keep more into topic conversation helping out.
All right. So it's 1 vote for Zirin. So next on my list we runner up. So Sage, Meta, you get to pick. Who do you think was who developed the most, and why?
So I know one of the rules was if someone already shines usually, you shouldn't base it on that. What I would like to base this on is the character's inner turmoil and the fact that the character developed so much, like their ideals changed so much just in this one session. I'm gonna say I saw so much of Rococo that none of us have really seen before. I feel like Necro did like an amazing job with Rococo today.
All right. So that's
thank
1
you
for Rococo. But then that will go next to Jen. I'm going to tell you this. I should have said this from the beginning. You can vote for yourself because I think it's important sometimes to recognize our own strengths, to recognize our own development. So if John had been like, I think that I got to explore a part of my character that I haven't, that's fine. That is important. That's why I ask why these votes matter, because I think every person has a chance to grow, and that's important to me. So that said, so Jen, who would you like to pick as the person who developed the most this game?
Zirin, for the same reason that John mentioned.
I'll accept that because that makes a lot of sense. I know, definitely very different from the Zirin that was played before. Oro, this is the one time I will let you skip it if you choose to, but you're next. So who do you think is developed in or out of character? Obviously, in character is a little harder, so in out of character because you've never experienced this party yet, so you can abstain if you choose to. But
I really don't have much of a frame of reference on necessarily the players or characters, so I don't really have any standard of deviation between how a character was and how a character is for this session. So I am going to have to abstain the vote for this one.
Okay, that's fair.
Go
ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna just make the joke that Oro's character didn't exist prior to this, so it's kind of a shitload
You know
of
what?
character
Hey,
growth.
yeah, you know what? I will vote for myself. I went from not existing to existing.
Yeah, there we go.
I think that's a pretty big difference right there.
Zero
My
to
fucking
something.
birthday, vote for me. Sorry.
That's good. Artan, our guy. I'm training to myself to call people by their character's name. But Wandi, or Sami, you were good. How would you like to?
I would say the DM, because let's give the DM a round of applause.
Honestly, though, like,
So beautiful.
Absolutely.
did you not? I had chat telling me that this storytelling was fucking amazing and that they were busy doing stuff but listening to us because it was amazing. So
Well, I appreciate that.
I have to agree with that, though.
If he doesn't accept that, I will have to go
can't
with
accept
Zirin.
it, so. Okay.
It's a 1-8. Like, do not get me wrong. I'm stuck between Zirin and Rococo because over the past, oh god, how long have we been? 2 years or a year?
Yeah, that's been about 2 years.
You always seen this sassy, upbeat character, and it's like I don't know how to approach that. It's like it's seeing her Duello in her own. I won't say misery. It's a new phase. It's really new, and it's like this is new. But when it comes to Zirin, that the same as everybody else. It's just it's good to see. Words. I'm sorry.
That's good. That's fine. That's fine. That's more than enough.
To see him more expressive. So I enjoy it.
So, that does mean that Zirin would win this. Zirin, so that means that you write this down, that you have inspiration. There actually is there's a button for inspiration as well. But this would mean that you get +1 or -1 if it's beneficial to you for everything you do next game. Now, when it comes to this particular rule, however, that means that Zirin cannot be picked again next game. That is intentional, so that way it is not always the same person. What is important to remember is it is also a good idea to help promote each other. If you find a player or a character not talking much or not being expressive, work with them, talk to them. First off, it helps you because that gives you a chance of being MVP. But it's also a good way of helping us continue to explore our characters and help us, all of us, at some point, other than like John and myself, a lot of us tend to be quieter or find it more difficult to break out of our shell when it comes to roleplay. So let's help each other. Let's have some fun. And so because of that, I appreciate you guys. I think that this was a fun time. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the last part of my music here, the outro. But I appreciate everybody being here. I'm glad that I'm grateful that... What? You got something to say?
I never got to add my bit to it to who I could. Can I actually add who I want to choose for?
Too fucking bad. Okay, go ahead and pick a person.
I was gonna say, actually, I wanted to give it to Sage, and I have a reason for it. So even not just from the whole moment of between Rococo and him, like honestly, like seeing how Sage had gone from always being the jokester to immediately being sad and not knowing where he was, to then Rococo being able to reach out and grab him, just spiritually, to be like, hey, I know it's rough, but we're gonna get through this. And it made me feel good to know that even though after all the disaster and shit that we have gone through, we are still going to be there as family for each other. And to see that the Sage is still like, he was able to accept that so easily and be like, yes, we're still family here, made me happy to see like that is a character growth for him. So I want to give at least my point to Sage for that.
Rococo,
I think that's a fantastic choice. So I know I can see how you see it. You can respond if you want to. I'm just saying I don't want you to ruin your makeup or something.
I'd just like to point out I fully came into this ready to just be sorrow and despair all fucking day. I just didn't realize what the people around me had planned. That was Necro.
No. Every person here showed really good roleplay. I think the only thing if I could give any feedback, not negative or positive, just something to think about. I said, let's make sure every character here suffered. Every character in the history has done something. Everyone has lost something. And while yes, we are those of us who are speaking aloud, who are coming out and saying things, sometimes the worst, the most destructive of grief can manifest in simply not speaking. So, while you guys are worried about yourselves, keep in mind too that other members who may have been more quiet or not showing things definitely should focus on them too. Because while you are getting help, that person may not be. And that's why I said before, MVP is important to me. It's basically us ensuring that we are trying to all improve. We are all trying to do the best we can, and we should be trying to help each other have fun. So, thank you guys for joining us. The next game, I actually believe, would be... Oh, man. We actually won't be able to play for a while, because the 21st, we're going to be in Arizona.
I know, that would have been right before my birthday, too.
Oh, I'm sorry. But
Happy
we
birthday.
could play the 28th, which would be the day after we come back. So, if that's okay with you guys, we'll aim for that day. But we will be regularly playing every 2 weeks on Thursday from that point forward. Okay. Is there any last minute questions, comments, concerns before we wrap up?
Nope.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us for Animus of the Worthy. This is the first session. I will be posting this on YouTube under Mad Hat Maddox. I will also be tagging everybody who has a stream. I'll be making sure to put you guys in that chat as well, and I will be linking the write-up for the majority of our the ending part of the game from the first sessions. So
Also,
that's it. Go ahead.
Shameless plug. I'm running my Humblewood game on Monday at 7 EST.
Absolutely. Jen, here is a new DM. We are running the Humblewood. God, I always say this. I always say it first. Humblewood game. It is a 5th edition game. Jen is doing fantastic as a growth in DM, and I would love to see you guys there who are watching this, there to support her as she continues to travel, learning to be a DM. So thank you guys again. But I'm going to stop our recording here. Thank you for joining us.
We're on the